monthly board meeting. Today is Thursday, November 13th. The time is now 7 o'clock. And I will have the clerk, first agenda item, will be the clerk will call to order. I'm sorry, we'll do a roll call, excuse me.
I want the gavel to call to
Yeah,
order.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Jenny?
Jennifer Lagarde.
No, you're supposed to hear.
Oh, that's me. I'm here.
She's here.
John?
Here.
I'm here. And Emmanuel?
And I'm here too. So we do have a sufficient amount to conduct. We have a sufficient amount of people to conduct quorum. So, we have a quorum sufficient enough to conduct business. So I will call the meeting officially to order now at 7 o'clock, 7:02 on Thursday, November 13th.
Do you need to represent who's absent? Okay.
No, you don't have to do that.
It goes in the notes.
Yeah, it will be in the
She
notes.
puts it in the minutes, yeah.
All right, so we'll move down to the next agenda item, to public comment. If there are any members of the public that wish to comment, they can do so now at this moment. We will hold it open for a brief moment while we look around.
We were not advised of public comment for this evening.
Seeing that there are no members of the public that wish to speak at this particular moment, that agenda item will close. We will move on to the approval of the October meeting minutes.
I move to approve.
And just a notation, I don't know if you sent out revised minutes, but I did note that there was attendance error in those minutes, and Lori was going to correct those.
Yeah, it was, I think it was Emmanuel under remote instead of in person. And I switched you to in person.
Good catch.
Tina caught it.
Wow. Well, with that correction, I still move to approve.
All right, on Jonathan's motion, is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Jenny. We'll just do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The approval of the October meeting minutes have been adopted. We will now move on to the next item, which is the ED report, which I will turn over to Tina.
Yeah, thank you. I apologize for not submitting yet another written report this month. It's been a crazy couple months here at UMA with things going on and being on vacation for a few weeks, that kind of thing. And plus I was spending a lot of time on the strategic plan that we're going to be talking about tonight. So I do have a number of items just to give you a brief update on. First of all, I wanted to thank our board members that attended our Halloween event. We had Lori Ardai and her daughters here who were an amazing help, as well as Adam Schulman was here representing. So we really appreciate the thought. And Hilda came through, so she had an opportunity to see what it looked like. And it was a really great time. The flow went really well this year. We had them coming in the front door but exiting the back door, and that I think really helped a lot keep the evening flowing. The program is airing back on our public access channel. We had it up live on the monitor in the front so parents could see what the experience was. We also had it roped off like we did the annual meeting so that there was some sort of structure to entering and exiting the building. So I think we went through 600 pieces of candy.
Well,
Yeah, and had a little bit left over, which I see you're enjoying. So during a meeting, thank you. So yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we're able to provide this community event, and I hope that we can continue to do it. So maybe expand on it in the future, but right now
It's a partnership too, so we're recognized through the Malden Chamber of Commerce because we're one of the businesses along the Pleasant Street that participates. So it is a recognized partnership with the Malden Community Chamber.
And some people outside said, I remember that from last year.
Oh yeah, we have kids. This year, this is the first year we've had kids running up, going, "I want to do it again." They remember doing it the last couple of years, so it was a lot of fun.
Oh, great.
I also want to thank our board members who participated in the election night coverage. I apologize for not being able to be here that day, but from what I heard, and it was spectacular. Emmanuel did a really great job in hosting the evening. We had volunteers showing up. Yeah, you were here. You could speak to it a little bit more if you would like.
Yeah, Hilda ran the camera, which was awesome. Emmanuel hosted a really lively discussion. People were like really looking to us to provide election numbers. We were very lucky in that community members came through, folks that were running for election came through. It was a steady stream of folks coming in all evening, kind of looking to us for information, which was a really nice way that, get activating people and reminding them what we do, reminding them that we're this, very singular voice for information, especially election coverage.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and being out in the community, interviewing folks. Adam Schulman, he did a great job.
And you
He-
too. Yeah,
I
you did a great
chewed
job.
gum on camera, which
That's
is
okay.
stupid, but yeah.
Listen, I'm chewing Twizzlers right now as we speak, so.
Yeah, I think
No, you did a great,
just-
you did a great job. Everybody did a great job. that night.
Aaliyah
Yeah.
Dominguez was
Oh,
amazing.
Yeah, I cannot speak Aaliyah's praises enough. She knocked it out of the park. She's been working on this for months, and with the candidate profiles that she and some volunteers did, Emily Taylor helped her with some of those. The social media she was putting together for the event, the planning, the processing, and then doing it all live that evening. Just spectacular.
And I also want to say thank you to Ed and Greg for also graciously
Yes,
also
absolutely.
saying yes and stepping up. And thankfully, once I said that to them, that I'm glad that once they heard that I was being involved, that they didn't shy away or step or decide to be busy that night. So I'm very happy that they contributed and they were willing to participate. And amongst with the other elected officials too.
Yes.
Council President Linehan, Vice Chairperson Spadafora, and Ryan, I should say Council O'Malley, Council Taylor, Bryn Garrity, who was the runner-up, who was running for Ward 1 City Council, school committee member Don Macklin too. So, I mean, it was nice to have the elected officials come through the door and want to talk. And
Was Karen?
no, she was not, no. And I always say that you can never, it's always easy to get every politician to talk during election season. So I would know because I was one of them. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, and yeah, I was again really happy. I heard, I love that our one of our local businesses airs our channel every election
Yes.
season, and that's where some of the parties were held, and so they were watching the coverage from there. So we can only just grow on that, right?
Yeah, I was
So-
at Pearl Street and they had the TV on,
Mhm.
and lots of people were watching and
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah.
And you weren't fast enough with giving the tallies, but
No, well, I was only.
yeah, you did it.
I
you
can
were
only,
like,
get
I,
that information.
I can only go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only go
Yeah.
as fast as the information
Yeah.
I was provided. So I will say that night, that after I was done, somebody had come up to me, somebody who was filling in the information I could see, and they were saying that how it was it was crazy that they had just hit enter to enter in the information, and then I was already reading it like out loud as it was going, and they were like, "Oh wow!" They're like, "This is so crazy," but.
And-
It's a good reminder, though. We can only provide unofficial
Yeah.
results.
Correct.
So, the city clerk has a lot of
Right.
work that they need to do,
Right.
so we can only provide unofficial
Mhm.
information. But,
Mhm.
I mean, kudos again. The fact that we were getting that information in and then out
Yeah.
on air is a big deal.
Yeah, and I know that some people in the community don't want to be named or mentioned because they have asked not to be revealed, but if they're watching this or if they somehow stumble across this, a huge thank you to them because that would have been impossible almost to get those numbers without having some of the community members involved provide that information in live time for me. So
And then for
Thank you
some
to
reason,
them.
for like 2 or 3 seconds, the UMA channel switched to one of our board meetings, and people were like, "You're on TV." I'm like, what?
It might have been filler content for the.
Yeah, it wasn't very
conference.
long. It was just
Yeah.
a few seconds.
But
And-
just kudos, yeah, just well done.
And I do want to say one last thought
Yeah.
on that too, is that for the obviously for the upcoming Prop 2 override that we're about to go through, also would like to, as we can see how important we are, actually, providing local information, that we should continue doing that for
Mhm.
this
Absolutely.
upcoming vote.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
And I had, important groups come up to me that evening and say it would be a great discussion to have at UMA. So the idea that we're part of that conversation, hosting
Yeah.
information, debate, discussion, but not necessarily presenting a point of view on it.
Right.
So
Yes.
Right.
that's
That's
That-
our role.
Yep.
That's
Exactly.
our role,
Yeah.
and you would be great at that, so.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
come on
Hopefully, if you
now.
guys trust me. If you
So
guys
far,
trust me
so
to do it
good.
again.
So, yeah, I just wanted to say we do have the election night coverage on the agenda, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone involved. It was I had no doubts that it was going to be an exceptional production, and I was not proven wrong. You know, I was not proven wrong.
You were not proven wrong. You were.
Okay.
You were. I hope you were not proven
Yeah.
wrong.
I do have some bullet points to update on the strategic plan, which is on the agenda, but I wanted to chat a little bit about how I have been spending my time the last 4 to 6 weeks. As I mentioned, a big chunk of it was pulling together this strategic plan that we'll talk about later on in the agenda, but a large chunk of my time has been spent recently troubleshooting a lot of technical issues in our control room, working with the gentleman that did our technical audit to find a short-term solution. Our switcher went out, and that's the heart of the operation in the control room, so you have to have that working. So we found a very inexpensive solution for that right now, and then the nice thing about it is that it can be repurposed to be utilized in our podcast suite when we do get a new switcher that's actually dedicated for the studio. So we're not wasting funds on equipment that's, you know, putting a Band-Aid on it. That being said, when that was installed, it was continuing to fail, and so we had to get another piece of equipment that we figured out was the issue. Very small expenditure, and I was actually able to install that myself and get it up and running. So it was a network switch. So we have a solution. We have a Band-Aid in there. But the fact of the matter is, as we've talked about, nearly all of our operational equipment that we need to stay on the air and to be able to do these productions is end of life. It's either not supported anymore, or it's antiquated, or it's just dead. So I have been doing a lot of work with our vendors and our contractors to define what needs to take priority in our operations. And I had a wonderful meeting with Seth again this morning, talking through the tech plan. I've been talking to our IT contractor. I met with him yesterday for about 2 hours. I met with our general contractor who did our remodel. All of those people I met with this week, and last week I met with Seth last week as well. And I'm meeting with Seth again next week, and we're having a vendor for a switcher come in and chat with us about what our new control room could look like. Felicia and I also just met with UX Architecture, who did our feasibility study. We met with them today to talk about an upcoming grant that we're going to be applying for, and we chatted about the remodel that we still need to do up here and all of the expenditures we need to do up here, but also how can we move forward with that envisioned space downstairs and make that really truly a space that we can utilize to its fullest potential. And our experience with them last year was so wonderful. Today was no different. It was really an incredible meeting where they were excited about our vision. They were excited about the 3-year strategic plan. They were excited about the tech audit, and are going to send us a proposal of what that would look like. Next steps would be to provide us with a number of what it would cost to have the design drawings done. Like, basically all the planning up to when the shovel hits the ground kind of thing, right? So they're going to come back with that before the deadline date of December 11th for the grant submission. Do you want to talk a little bit about that grant
Sure.
and what that looks like?
So it's through Mass Development. It's a quasi public-private grant. It's through the Mass Cultural Council. It's called a capital grant. It would cover design, construction, repair, renovation, rehab. We previously got the one-on-one grant to do the feasibility study, which covered the cost of the whole comprehensive concept design. So UX came in with all kinds of consultants, lighting, code, technical, wiring, plumbing, and gave us this design for both upstairs and downstairs. There's so many moving parts to it. with this new grant, what we could do is get that concept design into an actual plan with construction up to the point of the shovel hitting the ground. They can take the information from our technical audit as well, which would be helpful, but it would break out timeline, it would give us things that we could do in stages, and then we would have a number, and then we know we could do a capital campaign for how we would want. And it's making the building accessible, it's making the building up to code, it's making the building more modern to fit the equipment that we need. There's also another grant that we can apply for through this cycle for a systems replacement. So that would go towards mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and life safety systems. So their designs will help feed that information that we would need for that grant. So, and the grant cycle, we would know about it in the spring, but they give us 2 years to do it. So that's also helpful because we need to do this strategically.
And I should mention that the grant is up to $200,000, but I also want to mention that it's a matching grant. So what happens is if they say, okay, we'll give you $200,000, we have to come up with $200,000, and it can't. There's certain things we can't use to match. So, like, we would literally have to run a capital campaign to get the matching dollars, but they also give us 2 years to do that.
Yep.
Is this the CFF?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm familiar.
Are you?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I've already been working on it. That's good. That's
Yes.
good. As soon as you guys said the match and the deadline is on the 11th.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're
All
working
right.
on it for another.
No. Just I've been
Oh.
looking into it.
Oh.
Just
Okay.
Yes. From what we've been talking
Yeah.
about.
So we love. I'm just gonna put it. We love the Mass Cultural Council, and they funded our feasibility study last year, which I don't know if you had a chance to see or not. We
No,
can make sure
I
you get a
didn't.
copy
I was
of
just
that.
looking at any grants that would,
Yeah.
match with what we're doing, right?
And
With
so
what you guys are doing.
we knew that we wanted to pursue additional funding with them, but
Mhm.
we wanted to make sure that we had a comprehensive plan for them to really see what our vision is. So, so we needed to take some time to draw that together. So.
And it has to match what Tina's put into the strategic plan. It has to match how we would want to modernize and update and also grow the facility so it serves the community. So all those things tie in, and UX, they're just amazing. They're an amazing firm, but they'll take our technical audit and they'll take her strategic plan and put all of that into the design,
So that's what I've been working on. The initial recommendation from the tech audit was to actually move our server space into the office that is behind my old office. That now has been decided it's not the best use of our resources. So we are coming up with a plan to completely renovate our control room. And that control room will be split into 3 separate areas, one of which will be a server room. And our control room will completely be upgraded and modernized, and then the window that looks into our control room will actually become the reception desk. You will be putting in a counter there that will have somebody manning as part of the reception desk, which opens up our front area to be renovated to provide for the lift, to put in the studio in the front office area, and then would actually eliminate our current podcast bay so that we have a much wider entrance into the facility for better flow, that kind of thing.
We would love, obviously board involvement, and we would like to sort of have you be strategic and see what the plans are and know what UX is, recommending, and then, how we break this out in a grant cycle. We're going to need the board to sort of look at things, help us with timeline, help us think through how we would want to do capital campaign, how we use these funds, fiscally responsible. We're going to have to bid the
Yes.
project out, we'll have to do an RFP because it's such a large chunk of money. So,
Yeah.
but I think we'll get it. I really do. I think we have a strong case. So.
No, you do. I agree with you. I agree with you. You do.
I believe projects start to finish, it'll be probably 3 years, you know, if you're being realistic. And that's honestly, in my opinion, ambitious to get the whole thing done. But I know that we have a lot of support for the vision that we have for this organization. So, you know, we could be surprised by the funding available to us. But this is the first step, right? This and the plan that I presented to the board tonight. These are the first steps, and this is the accumulation of the work that we've been doing for the 3.5 years that we've been here. So I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about the contract individuals that we have an incredible engineer, we have an incredible IT department, we have an incredible architect firm that is 100% behind our vision. So we've got a lot of really amazing support to continue to build and sustain this organization. So
They really think through the people aspect too, like where are you sitting? How does it flow? You know, what's the accessibility issues? What does the lighting look like? How does it, if we're going to revamp our downstairs area, how you bring in natural light? It's so comprehensive and so people oriented, and also they've done a lot of research demographically about our community, and that's a lot of the information that we got in the feasibility study. So they spend a lot of time with us. So the fact that they know us this well is really, I think we're just, you know, plus Tina's vision of tweaks in their plan. So.
Impressive.
Circling back to some of the tech priorities, obviously our playback system is priority number one with it. It's starting to fail. Our channels cannot go down. I am working with the city still. I think we're coming together on an agreement of how we're going to pay for that. I just have not received official word yet, so I don't really want to talk to that until I have official word from them, but we are working on it. Our system is currently working, so I will continue to cross my fingers that it holds out until we get something installed. So that's priority number one. And then the conversation today with Seth revealed that we can get sort of the server room set up in there, but the actual construction will take a while to happen, because what we're going to do is set up our podcast room with video capabilities so that when the control room and the studio go down, we still have an option for our producers that produce studio productions. It may not be what they're used to, but it's still there, because the configuration of the control room could take a couple weeks to finalize. So we want to be prepared and to accommodate our producers still without shutting everything down.
The technical audit really gave us options, and he knows community media, and he also has this great, he knows resources and, like, you know, what pieces, he suggested pieces of equipment, and so it's not just, oh, here's your problems. It's really like, here are some solutions for you. Here are ways to make you more flexible. Here are ways to keep you up to date and modern, but not break the bank.
Right.
This is actually, that's a great point, because I wanted to highlight a piece of our conversation, or my conversation that I had with Seth this morning when we were talking about our cameras in the studio here need to be replaced. They're at end of life, and one is actually completely down right now. Our control room is going to shrink and go completely digital and IP and that kind of thing. And I said to Seth, I said, you know the vision that we want to move in. We want to be training individuals to be able to go out and get into the workforce. I said, are we thinking about that when we're planning for this equipment and stuff? And he told me, he goes, it's so refreshing to hear somebody coming from community media talking like that, because community media is not doing that. They're still they're doing the stationary cameras for our seniors that come in and are used to that kind of thing. He said, if it was me, honestly, I would do this, this, and this, and it includes a completely robotic camera system. And he said, that's what I'm seeing all over the country. That's what's in newsrooms. That's what's in colleges. And I said, all right, let's start there then. Why put equipment that these individuals aren't going to be using in their career into our facility if we're training them for a career, right? So I love that him and I were vibing on that today, and kind of, yeah, it might be slightly more expensive to do it that way, but the end result is exactly what we're looking for. So that's the conversation he and I are having right now, is what does that look like? So.
And all these updates are strategic because, again, we're coming back to the strategic plan, workforce development, what does the community need, how we can make the community, this more accessible for the community.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that all will help us when we're applying for grants or other funding.
Mm-hmm. So those are the conversations I've been having. All this to say that because my hope is to actually create a capital improvements budget that will help us really understand how we're going to do this and how we're going to continue to operate, because the 3-year operating budget goes hand in hand with this. So, yeah.
Do you all understand what capital means?
Yeah.
Just one question.
Okay. Just a brief strategic plan update on this year's current plan. We've kind of talked about election coverage. So goal number 1 is to enhance partnerships with the city of Malden and the school district. I know that the Verizon franchise renewal agreements have started, the negotiations have started with the city. I don't have a timeline on that. I need to follow up on that. I believe we are in our last year of a 5-year agreement. No, that can't be true. I think we're in year 3 of a 5-year agreement. So it takes a few years of negotiations. So just a heads up on that. We have been having conversations about how we can be a little bit more civically engaged with the community. So we were talking about doing some sort of roundtable about the prop override. We've had conversations about how we can get more of the meetings out of City Hall on our channels. We're in conversations to host Senator Lewis here for his Beacon Hill update. I have spoken to Council President, Amanda Linehan, about potentially doing a recap of the council meetings here at UMA in the podcast bay. So we're doing that kind of stuff. And then we're also, now that elections are over, going to be circling back to more conversations with the school district, as well as how we can be, I think it would be beneficial to do a school board meeting roundup as well, right? And how can we connect and engage more with our school district to start, and then move into the schools themselves. So,
and to add to that, I actually reached out to Rep. Altrino last week and asked him if he would be interested in doing something as well too, and he said that he's actually never been asked that before, so he said he would be actually very excited to.
I love that.
Excellent.
So I did talk to him about that, so yeah.
Consider it Donato too.
And I would also have to talk to State Rep Donato and State Rep Garabedian as well.
Yeah.
I see Steve a lot, so that's why I had asked him.
Yeah, it might be a great, maybe we could do a quarterly roundup with them here at UMA. That would be amazing.
Yeah, he actually even suggested doing like a monthly legislative update, which I said that's actually not a bad idea.
Right?
Right.
That'd be
So,
awesome.
Yeah. But we can talk more about that.
So under goal number 2, youth engagement. Goal number 4, board development. 5, UMA team reorganization. And 6, long-term strategic planning. I have new strategic plan. Goal number 3, community engagement. Would like to continue the conversation about additional media mixers themed around youth, artists, and gaming.
Sorry.
Jonathan, I'm sort of What?
What are you,
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
what
are
are you
you?
reading?
Sorry, I'm reading off of my own notes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I,
I'm
was
not
trying
trying
to- I
to-
didn't say anything. I was like, oh, it's like I didn't see it either.
Yeah.
I apologize. See, that's Tina speak for I'm not telling you all your information. I am reading off my own notes.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that I had this stuff in front of me.
Can you repeat the last thing you said?
I'd like to continue the conversation with the board about additional media mixers themed around youth, artists, and gaming. And the conversation about board member-led workshops here at UMA that we had last month.
Mhm.
And I would like to try to free up a little bit more of my time to be available to attend more events, and I want to start going to the department meetings at the city and that kind of thing, and I just don't know how I'm going to be able to get that done, but I'm trying to do that a little bit more. I'd also like to suggest to the board that I'm more than willing to set up a one-on-one with each of you on a monthly basis if you feel like that would be beneficial to you. It is easier for me if you reach out to me and suggest that, but rather than expecting me to do it for you, to reach out to you. But I would be happy to do that. I have like a monthly coffee with Adam, and we catch up on things. So I'm happy to do that with other board members as well. So that's community engagement. And then under fund development, we already talked about the Mass Cultural Council Facilities Fund. I'm still looking at the higher interest savings accounts for the contingency fund. New strategic plan has a lot of information on fund development. And then I meant to contact you today and I didn't get to it, but what you were talking about the last time we saw each other about sponsorships, I was wondering if you would be willing to kind of talk about a little bit more about what your thoughts were on that to the board themselves, because I thought it was a really great idea and it kind of light bulbed for me, but I don't know if you're prepared to talk about it tonight.
No.
Okay.
I'm not, but yes, I will.
Okay.
If you want to book time with me and have coffee and tell me more about it, I'm
Okay.
happy to think it through with you.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that.
Can we just talk about the general concept? Like, you don't have to deep dive into it, but just what your thought was.
No, my initial feeling was we don't have any sponsorships, and I think there's a lot of, businesses and corporations or whatever that might be, not even just Malden, but that might want to be a part of what we're doing, and they have very deep pockets sometimes, and that would help supplement a lot of what we're trying to do. And I think being a part of the community, as UMA is, and them being a part of the community, they should kind of help us out to a certain degree.
Mhm.
And when he initially said it, I was like, well, we don't have the bandwidth to create a product basically for these sponsorships. And he said, you don't have to. I'm talking about
Right.
them just literally donating money to UMA because they support the organization. And I went, well, there's a concept I didn't really kind of wrap my head around, because when you think sponsorships, you think we have to give something to get something. And really, it's about sponsoring our organization and keeping our doors open.
Yeah.
And I love that. So I'd love to continue
Yeah.
developing what that looks like.
That's a perfect example of what we need the board for.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's basically what I have as far as an update. So I don't know if there's any questions on that.
Are there any questions at this time?
No
Any
questions.
comments? Seeing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My
We're
bad.
still on the
I
agenda
have a
item.
whole nother
Oh.
page. I am not going to read through this because everyone should have a copy. It says Neighborhood View Work Updates 11/10/2025. So as we talked about in our last meeting, I'm happy to announce that we have contracted with Anna Rosa Rose to continue as our Neighborhood View coordinator in a contract position. She's done incredible work, and she provided this update for the board to look at. She has done a press release in the Advocate, which reminds me, I think we should put that on our website as a blog
It
post.
is,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's on our website as a blog post, and then she contacted me today and said that she is looking at doing a presentation on the relaunch at the city council meeting next month, and I'm in conversation with her as whether or not I should be a part of that presentation. So, but we're moving forward. We've got stories coming out. We've got people interested in getting engaged and involved again. So,
That's great.
yeah, and that perhaps Jonathan might have more in the subcommittee report, but I just wanted to share this with the board. So.
Oh, great news. Excellent. I'm
So
excited.
now
about
I'm
this.
done
Interesting.
with my.
No, I was going to say, I'm glad that now that this has been relaunched, that people are showing interest in this.
Yes,
Nice.
it's a wonderful program that I did not want to lose. So, yeah,
And I'm glad Ann decided to do it again.
yes,
You know,
we're so
yeah,
appreciative of
yeah.
her. Yes,
So,
yes.
all right. Any questions about that? Any other comments about, and I should say, any comments about anything we heard tonight so far? Seeing
No.
that there are none, we can move on to the next agenda item. I'm going to table this finance report.
Wait, that's
Strategic.
No, that's under my ED report. I have finance.
Oh, you do have,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I mentioned that I was going to do it because Eden's.
Oh, but I didn't see, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to just, okay. We'll move right into the finance report then.
So I.
Are we gonna talk about the current strategic plan or no?
I
That's-
gave
that's
my
a-
I gave
Just-
my update. Is
Okay.
Did you want a conversation? Because that's
No, the big
No,
difference.
no, no. That's the 3-year strategic plan.
Right.
Which is under new business.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Never mind.
Sorry.
He's excited.
I know. I'm excited too.
Yeah. Like the big difference is you went for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. So financials. That's what I'm talking about. I sent an email out with the finalized report from our auditor for this past fiscal year. Everything has been submitted and reported on. Everything, is going in the direction that we knew it was going in, right? Like cable franchise numbers are down, but we're increasing our fund development. We'll just have to pick up the pace on how we want to do that. Overall, we got a thumbs up from our auditor. You'll see I provided a few different documents in today's packet. The first one is labeled fiscal year 25-26. This is the table I usually include in my board report. Just wanted to give you where we're at currently. So as of today, we have not received the first quarter cable operating grant funds. I'm anticipating they'll be here any day. They have up until this Saturday to get them to the city. So turnaround, realistically, we probably won't see them until the first week of December from the city, but I'm hoping they come in a little sooner than that.
And just for clarify, what's always the timeline for I should say the turnaround time for to get-
They have 45 days from the end of the quarter to get the funds to the city, and the city is pretty good about getting it turned around for us fairly quickly.
Okay.
So it just sort of depends on when they get them.
Mhm.
And you said it's the first quarter funds?
This is the first quarter funds for our fiscal year. It's technically third quarter from the cable companies, but so that's why that line item is 0. We're doing really well on our general operating grants. To date, we've received $19,000 in general operating grants of the $45,000 that we budgeted for. I would mention that I believe it was $34,000 of that 45 was the agreement with MAPC for their cooling project. So that's a general grant. Even though we're working on the project for them, we don't need. They're providing that money as a supplement for our operations. So we've only received 4,000 of that thus far this fiscal year. So by the end of the fiscal year, we should actually be $4,000 over our goal as of right now.
Yeah, and we did get renewed for our up grant, so that's another $5,000 that's guaranteed.
That's a restricted
It
grant,
is.
though.
We have to use it for accessibility, but
Mhm.
You know,
These are the grants that we want to be going after, these general operating grants, because these don't restrict on what we can do with them. As you'll see, we're doing really well in our first year of bumping up our workshops funding. We'd like to, as part of the new strategic plan, try to incorporate that more into our stuff. And then fundraising and sponsorship. Like last year, we're still at 0, right? And we're how many months into the year? So this is the conversation that I'm going to be looking to the board to help quantify how we can try to hit some of these goals. Membership fees, we seem to be right on track. And what I like about this is that we have done no promotion for our membership, right? Our membership has actually been growing quite a bit the last 6 to 9 months. We have a lot of activity here at UMA. We have a lot of people utilizing our facilities. We're getting a lot of organizations coming in utilizing the organizational memberships. So I think if we were to actually put some effort into marketing our memberships a little bit more, we could bump that number up even more. But again, that's part of the strategic plan. So.
Actually, can I ask
Yeah.
any thought about doing that maybe around, like now that we're coming up to the holidays, if any of them want to record anything or do something, right? Like they want to host even a holiday party around here, provided if they do, I better be invited. As long as
We
nobody
have a
destroys
different
the
thought of
food.
what we want to do for fundraising for the
Yeah.
holiday season. It's more based on equipment that we need and putting together a wish list.
Mhm.
I'm not looking to implement anything right now
Yeah.
to the end of the year. I think that's a great conversation to have for the development plan,
Mhm.
right?
people always go to events because they're fun, but events, in terms of the return on investment,
Right.
it's like small and you build. So I think that in and of itself is one part of a fundraising vehicle, but it can't be the only thing.
Right.
And where we have like real capital expenses, equipment expenses, I've been talking with staff members and with Tina about like identifying things high end, low end, middle, also places that we can get bulk discounts or offer nonprofit discounts.
Mhm.
There's a great website that our tech audit identified for us that we already use, but that there's some stuff on there. So identifying why we need it, how we would use it, how the community could benefit from it, and then putting together that wish list, and that's probably what we're looking at for like our year-end campaign.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff that we need that, like if it was me out in the community and my community said, we need some ring lights, right, for our stuff, and they're $30 a pop, I'm gonna go on and buy you that ring light, right? So that's the kind of the concept. But there's also some larger ticket things like we need new iMacs. All of our iMacs are end of life too, and those are a little bit more expensive. But maybe somebody has the money that they can do that, and if they don't, they don't. We already know we have to do it. It's just this is how our community can just another way for our community to support us, kind of thing. So, production services and rentals again. Doing really well. We're not even halfway through the year and we're about the 50% mark. We're getting more and more people coming in, recognizing that we do coverage of events and things like that. I just had an individual come in today and ask me about the front office, and they want to use it for a scene in a film that they're making. They're not a member. I advised them if they wanted to become a member, they could use it for free. And we agreed on a rental rate for it. So that's a area of focus I really would like to try to focus on as soon as possible, is coming up with that rate sheet we've talked about, like renting the studio, renting spaces. So it's on my list. I will share that I'm on a listserv for a bunch of community media centers around the area, and they're all asking that question and nobody has an answer. So maybe I'll just set the bar. How's that? And then, we're not doing as well in our interest rates, but we're low on funds right now, so our interest isn't going to be great. Year to date, we're about 4%, but that's only because we haven't gotten our cable op funds. If I were to guess, I think that percentage would probably be about 20% right now. And it would be higher if we had fundraising and sponsorships beefed up. And then I just want to mention that I have not been able to establish the contingency fund as of yet, primarily because we just finished paying out the severance packages, and we need to pay off the 2 credit cards that we have, because they're going to be closed at the end of the year. So that's a bit of chunk of money that I'm going to need to take out of this next round, but then they'll be done and we don't need to deal with them anymore. So come next quarter, I think we're going to be in a much healthier place, and I can backfill that contingency fund and get it set and running to where it needs to be. So by end of year, we'll hit our goal for the contingency fund. So, and I just provided a couple documents that I wanted to, I provided an abbreviated P&L. These two are, you'll notice you've got at the top 2025 and then 2024. And I just wanted to show you where we are from last year to this year. And it's so this is what happens when you're trying to do a financial report for your board or for a bank or whatever. They look at that bottom number and go, whoa. But the reality of the situation is, if you come to the top, you'll notice the difference in our licensing, right? There's a $150,000 difference because we haven't gotten any licensing fees yet. So we come down to our total for our income. Last year at this time, it was $180K. This year we're sitting at 48. But 165 of that last year was the cable fees. So we're actually doing much better this year financially in our fund development because we're bringing in much more diversified funding, right? If you go down to the next highlighted item, that's our capital expenditures, you'll see that we're right on par we actually reduced our capital expenditures, and that honestly is because I eliminated a bunch of repetitive software subscriptions, so we took those out of there. And then if we go down to the personnel line item, even with our severance and vacation payouts that we had to do, we're still saving nearly $70,000 in comparison to where we were last year. So I think that's really good. It comes at a cost, but we knew that cost was happening. So if you look at the total for expenses for this period, last year we were at almost, we were at $272,000. This year we're at $190,000. So we did reduce our spending by $80,000 just in 1 year. So that's why those numbers at the bottom are highlighted, because they're significantly skewed. The number from last year is actually how much we were in the hole. Right. So if you think, I would say the number for this year might be a minus $20,000 rather than $90,000. So we're moving it towards in the right direction is what I wanted to point out. And that's kind of my financial reports.
Any questions about the finances or anything that we have just heard on this?
80,000. Dang.
That's a lot, yeah. It's
pretty good.
It's very glaring when you see that.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Oh, man, you didn't realize that, right?
Yeah.
Comment about the finances too, like the more that we've improved our reporting, the more that we've filed the paperwork we need to maintain our 501c3, the higher the rating that we get on sites like Candidly. I can't think of the one that, GuideStar. So if people are searching just on the web for us, like our financials are in order, we have transparency, we've had audits, our books look good,
Right.
we're valid,
Right.
we maintain our 501c3 status, which is really important to large funders or people with what is it, donor advised funds.
Mhm.
So that stuff, it makes a huge difference.
That's true.
It's a hard behind the scenes look at how much work Tina has done, but it's super important to point out.
And I will note that, when we get to a point where we're not dependent on the cable operating funds, right? Where we've got a solid fund diversification process in place, those numbers are going to flip, right? We're going to stop seeing those negatory numbers because we're not waiting on accrual income to come in. So it always bothers me to see a negative number in my finance reports, but I understand. In my mind, I know why it is.
Right.
But to somebody in the public, they're going to be like, "You're operating in the red every year. What's happening?" No, not really. So yeah, it'll be nice to. That's a few years down the line, probably, but it'll be nice to see it that way.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. All right. Any other follow-up conversations or comments? Questions?
So, what's happening with the legislation? Have we heard anything more about that?
So I'll be honest. The head of Mass Access reached out to me and asked me to try to schedule something with State Rep Donato. I did email and CC David the rep, but never heard back from his office, and my bandwidth has been literally zero, which I did tell David. So I know that there's quite a bit of chatter, but I haven't been able to circle back to it. So
Just curious
yeah,
where that's headed.
I know I need to. It's on my priority list for next week. So.
There's a nice recap of some of it on Mass Access, so if you want us to share that with you, we can, because if you have bandwidth and could make a meeting happen with a representative, then you can have that information about why those bills are important, how they're affecting community media. But I can screenshot that information and distribute it to the board if you want.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, please.
Yeah, things kind of fall off my plate lately, so I've been trying to keep it cycled through. But thank you for following up, because
I just see that as a really good thing for us.
I agree.
Eventually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Hopefully they come through with it. So.
And there's education about what does the bill mean? How does it, a little, maybe that's a community show about what those bills are, how they affect us, how they affect the community, what they mean, why they're important, why would the rep support it? So
You're gonna be an UMA star.
Well, I did plan on bringing it up during the legislative update with State Senator Lewis, so yeah,
Great.
I did think about
I'll get you
talking
the
about that.
information.
Yeah, please.
If we do the election thing again, though, can I run the magic board next time?
Yeah, you want to do it?
I have ideas.
Believe me, I wish we had a
That would have
magic
been so
board.
fun.
Listen, I want.
Why not?
I
Let's
want
do it.
Isn't that brainstorming?
I would love to have a magic board. I
That'd
actually
be
thought
fun.
about that. I was like, that would be it. John King, I think it's John King on CNN. They do a pretty good election night coverage, and I like when he goes to the board.
do you know how
And
to
I
do
love
that?
that.
Do you know?
No, but you give me all the people that are calling in, and they'll call me, and I'll do a board. You can have your thing
Nope.
with the Lucy's.
Nope, nobody called. It was all. It was
Oh,
all on my
whatever.
computer. Yeah, I can.
Texting,
I'll
whatever.
give it. Yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
amazing.
that would be fun if we could
Right?
figure out a way.
fun.
What is
I
the
actually would be
magic
down for that. So it just basically shows you who So if you ever go watch on CNN, that's the only one I watch on election night. And
What is it? Granacki? What's his
Yeah,
name? With the
Steve-
chinos?
Steve
Granacki.
Kurt-
oh
Granacki.
yeah.
He's got chinos
Yeah.
and like.
I would dress like him.
Yes, yes.
So what they do is they go to a board in the United States, Lori, and they basically would say okay, these numbers are coming in from this area, so you can, and they'll show you the candidates, and they'll do so many votes have been casted in. This is what the percentage is, but then you're still waiting for these certain counties to come in. It's
So
a really
better
good.
on,
I could
like,
just
a
do a
state
low
level.
weather
five
report,
version,
but with
you know,
politics.
It's
with the different wards and stuff.
Oh, I would.
doesn't-
I would absolutely do that.
It sounds like it's better on like a state or national level versus a city level.
It's
Yeah.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
yeah.
we could break
You could
down
do
a
it.
Malden
Oh, you could do it by
map.
ward.
do it
Oh,
by
that's-
ward.
oh,
Easy.
listen.
Yeah.
Helping out, running, and obviously the how should I say, the curtain was revealed a couple times in certain interviews. If you had heard certain candidates saying that I would, myself and a few others were involved around the city running certain people's campaigns. So it's like you remember what wards are like what, and which one was a more liberal ward, which is a little bit more conservative, which is a little bit more moderate. What areas of that ward too can kind of be tend to be a little bit more conservative than others, as opposed to just general parts of the city. So yeah.
But each candidate also knew like how many registered voters there were,
Yeah,
how many
yeah.
were already mailed
Yes.
in, how many would show up at a certain. So you can that's all common knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's not any kind of insider. It's I could get that as a public member. So we're not sort of breaking any rules
Right.
with that information.
I know,
Right.
I
But
think I
it's-
know what it is, I just didn't know the
Sorry,
name
I threw
of it.
this.
Yeah, it's
Threw
a
this
really
away.
interesting
Sorry.
kind of
Sorry.
geeking out
Yeah.
about the
Have a lot to
numbers.
talk about yet.
Yeah.
Well, we can put that part of the finance report to make sure there's a line
Well,
item to get us an
I
interactive
think the
map.
magic board should be under the wish list. I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Could be part of capital. Listen, it could be a capital improvement. There could be something like that.
It is a capital.
Yeah, actually, could. You never know. There could be a capital improvement on that. So.
But our new playback system and switcher and all that upgrade, like that's stuff that Tina can say, like, can we have the capacity to do something like that? Split
Yeah.
screen and
I know
some
we can.
graphics.
I've used the system.
Yeah,
So,
so-
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
that's fun.
The new system that we're going to be having installed is going to launch us into the current century.
21st
so,
century.
You know, so it's
Yeah.
it's going to provide so many benefits to our community, and I'm really excited to get it in and installed and working, and also to have that security. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. We're going to move on to the subcommittee update. Are there any subcommittees that have any updates at this particular juncture? I know that I do not have anything to report
Have you
out.
given us the current year's subcommittee?
Yes,
No.
I.
'Cause-
Oh no, you know what? I'm
Chairs
sorry.
haven't been established.
That's.
Yeah.
But I did say that I did ask everybody to take a look at it. That's right. You know what? That's right. Things kind of tend to fall off my plate too. So. For next month, we'll have to. For next month, I should say, if I don't hear from everybody, then we'll be assigned committees. Let's put it to you this way. So, but we will have a subcommittee update it, like who's on what committee at that point. But I guess for any remaining members that were part of any of the older committees,
So the current, the old chairs are still the current chairs until you reassign.
until I reach. So,
Yeah. So.
but I don't see anybody hasn't updated out at this point.
No, you mentioned neighborhood view, and you have more information than I have. We haven't had a meeting yet since all this happened, so until we have another meeting, I do know that, one of our advisory board members stepped down. A couple came back. The editor is gone. We're working with interim. Yeah, so it's coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's happening.
Okay.
It sounds like you guys have it organized, you and Ann, so.
Anne is doing all the lift
Yeah.
right now. I'm just telling her yes or no, basically. Yes, and I haven't had to say no yet, so we're good. Yeah, I don't think there's any other subcommittee to report right now.
There's no other reports coming out. All right. All right. We'll move on to old business. And under old business, board contract and agreement, and I believe that there are still some outstanding. Some people who have not
Yeah.
signed it.
Who?
Me?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, I signed it
Oh,
once, but
sorry.
it never went through.
I thought there was more than just one
Sorry?
person.
Did you sign it?
I don't know if I did. Did I get one?
I thought
Yeah,
you
is there,
signed.
is there a paper
thought
one
you
or
signed
something?
on-
'Cause whatever I did didn't work.
Oh no, maybe not. I know I
think
signed
I
at the
signed
annual
anything.
meeting. Okay.
We have yours.
Yeah.
Did you do one?
Yep.
Okay. Who's
Should have
who's in charge of keeping track of that? That's my question.
Oh.
You looking at me?
Oh yeah, because you handed me mine. That's why I'm like,
I printed it out for.
Yeah.
Is it a clerk position thing or is it a staff position thing?
I think it
'Cause
should be.
I'm happy to assist.
I think it's executive level, isn't it?
Could be.
If it's
Yeah, I
me,
didn't-
I can't even do my own, so I don't think I'm the best.
Yeah, we could talk about. All right, but
I'm happy
Yeah.
to
I don't
assist
think it
the
should be-
board
it should be a
by
staff.
I
printing
don't think it
out
should be a
for
staff person. No.
you. Okay.
Yeah. So I think what I would like to see is somebody taking ownership and getting it completed. That's why it's on the agenda. So.
you
Yeah.
guys are looking at me. I'll take
Yeah,
it
I mean,
over.
if I did it, I would need help, obviously.
I'll take it
That's-
over. I'll see who's. I'll put an email out to.
Because I've done it twice
the
already
full
online.
board
So are we just talking about someone to get them
to just sign.
To make sure they're
Signed
signed and they're in the
and
OneDrive
then filed
somewhere.
somewhere?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
would that be? Online
It'd
or?
be on the OneDrive. space.
Which I don't know how to use OneDrive, believe it or not. So
It's
somebody
like a
could just show
Google
me that.
Drive,
Yeah.
basically. If you want to put it on the Google Drive for where the board stuff is, you have the minutes on the Google Drive, right?
You put them up, I don't.
You share the minutes to me through a Google Drive, right?
Yeah, but it's not the UMA Google Drive.
Oh,
Because I don't have any access to that.
all right. We'll set up a space on the OneDrive for the board so that they have file structure there.
I thought they already did, but okay.
Okay, let's check and see if they
Okay.
have space.
And,
We'll get that part figured out because that's part of our workflow.
Okay.
But if we can, at minimum, have them signed and in file somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once you get that set up, if you can then show me how to do stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the clerk will have access to the OneDrive too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. UMA accounting policies update.
I would recommend that item B and C not be part of the conversation tonight because our treasurer is not here.
So we'll table that till December's meeting. We don't need a motion for that to table anything.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I technically cannot do that. I forgot. I can't, as the president, table anything. I forgot. I'm not
Right,
allowed to.
and I think you do need a motion to table, don't you? No? Okay. So somebody outside of me has to recommend that we table those two conversations until our board treasurer is in attendance.
I will recommend to table them until the December meeting when our treasurer is available.
There's no motion. You just table it.
Oh,
Yep, you can just
table.
So
Well,
it's
he said
tabled.
recommend. I would
You recommend? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So the recommendation will be taken to table this until December's meeting. All right.
With that said, I would ask that the board review those documents that were sent to you and be ready to have a conversation about them because they really do need to be voted on or discussed.
Mhm.
So, yes.
Did you
All right.
share them in a way that they can make comments on it?
I don't know.
It depends how it's.
I think they're PDFs.
Yeah, they're PDFs.
You can put comments on a PDF, right?
If you,
You have to
You
have
have
an
to have-
Acrobats get invited.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah. You have to have
Acrobat screwed up their PDFs.
Actually, I
don't-
think-
yeah, I hate it. I hate
The
it.
procurement policy I sent in Word format because it's a draft.
Yes.
The accounting policies, those were just updated. They weren't like changed. I don't know. It was months ago that I sent them. I'd have to go back and look at them.
And I think whatever you send to me, my computer makes into a PDF, but when I send them out, they might be different than the way you're sending them.
Okay, we'll look at that. I'll make sure if you, so my question to the board is, when I'm presenting documents like this, do you prefer them in the Word document format so you can make comments, or do you want to comment? How do you want to
As long as somebody,
procedurally go through
as long
stuff
as
like
somebody
this?
does not accidentally save as, so it overrides whatever
Yeah,
you have.
see.
I know,
That's
that's the
only
thing with those.
That's why I
I'd
sent
rather
things
do
out
it in
PDF.
person or
Yeah,
through email or.
I
Yeah.
would, if anything, I mean, I know that obviously allowing people to edit in real time, it has its benefits, but again, if you have somebody who accidentally hits the save button and it will overwrite whatever you do it. So I think if you send them out as a PDF, and if there's any comments that need to be said, they can just be sent through email or in the
at the
live discussion. Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I would rather that. Somebody may think differently, but I've been in too many situations before that somebody's like, whoops.
So I guess, does it matter PDF or Word to everybody? It doesn't matter to me.
No, I think PDF.
Because
is-
you've got both on here.
I think PDF. I think
I like
PDF. I think PDF is the safest way to go. And then, like I said, if there's any comments, can be made through email or discussion. So, okay. All right. Next item, election coverage, which we kind of just already talked about in old business, but I don't know if there's anything further that anybody wants to add.
Just the magic
I-
map.
Just a magic map.
I do
So-
want to say I had so much fun.
Good.
I had so much fun. I didn't think, honestly, I was a little nervous, but just the process was just so simple. It was explained very thoroughly. I was like, oh my I just felt giddy, you know what I mean? I felt like a kid.
Yeah, I
so
love that.
it was just really exciting to just kind of walk through and see everything and kind of like how it all played out.
Yeah.
It was just really exciting. I was grateful for the experience for sure.
I appreciate that you stayed, and I appreciate that you went and talked to people afterwards,
Yeah.
and like were interested in the election. And I'm not a political wonk, but I found it really exciting too. So
I mean, it was definitely a good time, and my concern was that we were going to run out of things to talk about, and thankfully we did not. That was my biggest concern.
With
was
you
like,
leading the pack, I was not worried about that in any way.
I was very,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I was like, but again, I'm glad that Greg and Ed also agreed, so they can keep the conversation moving as well too. So, and it helps that we all get along. So that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
No, but I think the interviews in between definitely cleared up
Yeah,
some of the space.
yes.
Like they definitely came in and it just felt more personal that
Yeah,
way. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It wasn't
yeah.
just talking about results coming in. It was
Yep.
just
Yeah.
like they went out and spoke to people in the city too. So
Oh.
it was good. It
Well,
was,
and
it was great.
to follow up on that point too, I think also what we should also take away too is that people were engaged enough to actually be interviewed and actually felt comfortable enough to be on camera to actually give their own insight of why they came out to vote, what were some of the big topics that they were that was concerning them and whatnot. So that's also it was good. I mean, overall, it was good. It was nice to see that the community is still engaged very much with what goes on locally, even though that the turnout in municipal elections is still very tough. I mean, I think it was like less than 20%. I think that came out, but
Yeah, about 50.
Lowest in
Yeah.
history.
so
it just so you know too, it's like it was a staff member, me, with a phone on a tripod, and our board member Adam Schulman. That's who did the
Voter reactions, they call
voter
it.
reaction when we tried to hit each ward. So we started at 8:00 in the morning,
Wow.
and like one of us wrangled people and like just explained what we were doing. Went in, explained to the polling place and the clerks who we were, why we were there, explaining to the police officers that we're not gonna ask anyone who they voted for, and like the reaction and the reception in each of the polling places was really positive.
Yeah.
Really positive. They were excited that we were there. They were like, just don't be outside the polling place.
Yeah.
So it was cooperation. It was the board and staff doing that. So, and I'm not necessarily good on camera, but I did my
you
best.
did a great job. No, you did great. Now, hopefully, my last thought on this is hopefully with building on this momentum and building with this engagement and hopefully more people to continue to step up and volunteer to help out with voter reactions or anything, or even in here, that hopefully that we can, with the blessing of not the blessing but with the cooperation, I should say, of the elected officials, right, whether it be our state delegation or even our local delegation or our local elected officials, that hopefully this continues to increase engagement so that we're not looking at less than 20% of people turning out every 2 years to come out and vote, right? And hopefully the same thing too with this override vote, which if my memory serves me correctly, I think this is the first time Malden has ever done this since it was voted on back in the 80s. So in the last I think in 1982 is when the state allowed Prop 2 override. So in 40 years, this is the first time that the city of Malden is doing something like this. So I'm hoping that people are engaged enough to actually come out and vote however they want to vote for this. So, and I hope that UMA is at the center of that. So,
You and me both.
yep, I know we will.
And I think it helps to understand some of those challenges too, so that we can say, how can we help,
Right.
So Aaliyah and I talk all the time about civic engagement and how can we help and how can we explain things in a different way or in a different language, or how it's really about how do we get our community engaged in the civic process. So that's a constant conversation that Aaliyah and I are having. So having the feedback about how the election night went, what worked, what might not have worked, what was a challenge, what isn't. We take all that and we have conversations about that. So
Magic board.
Yeah.
That's what the challenge is.
magic,
the magic board.
You and your magic board.
That's not me, Jonathan started that
All right.
conversation. All right. Any other final questions or comments on any of the two items that we talked about under old business? Seeing that there are none, we will move on to new business. So the first agenda item under new business is board appointments. Just to give everybody a little clarification, when talking with Tina the other day about this is something that is going to be a standing agenda item moving forward. This will always be a part of the agenda that if we have to vote somebody on, this is what we'll do. And so just, yeah, that's why you're seeing that new appointment. So it's not doctor's appointments, it's to vote any new people, to vote any members that, anybody who is interested in joining our board. This is at this particular juncture that we would vote these people, we would vote interested parties on. So, with that being said,
Hi, Hilda.
I am looking I am looking right over here at my friend Hilda.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Hilda, do you have any, so I'll open this up now for discussion. If there's anything that you want to say at this particular moment before we vote on your candidacy.
Well, honestly, I think that this has been such a great experience. I've been doing so much research on Malden and everything that I can help to contribute with everything. That's why when you mentioned the CFF earlier, I was just like, oh my goodness, like everything's kind of like lining up. So I want to stay clear on this path, kind of like where my heart is taking me right now and how I can help best support you guys. So I would love to join.
She's a strategic thinker. I think that's a helpful
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
And she also was ready to roll up her sleeves. So
Good.
Well, I think when we think about that time, talent, and treasure that Rob talked about last, whatever it was, I think what Hilda brings to the table is a vitally needed thought process. And when you look at the strategic plan that we're about to talk about, a lot of it is setting up those operational stabilizations that we need an additional set of thought processes on. And I cannot stress how excited I am to have somebody that kind of thinks like that with me. So yay. I
All right.
do believe you need an official motion though, don't you?
This is open for discussion right now, but if there are no other further discussions or comments that anybody wants to have, I'll entertain any motions right now.
Who's actually allowed to make them?
Anybody but me?
You three.
Motion
Alright.
to bring on Hilda as a board member. Appoint.
Hilda as a board member. Okay, is there a second to Jonathan's motion?
I second.
There's a second by Jenny. Jenny Lagarde. All right. Before we go into a roll call vote, any further discussions, comments that need to be made?
Just a point of clarification now, because he said appoint, that does clarify that she's appointed
Correct.
seat. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Because otherwise we would be doing the voting for the membership seat during the
Yes.
annual meeting, correct?
Yes.
All right. So with that point of clarification answered, seeing that there are no other further questions, clerk will call a roll. We'll do a roll call vote on this.
Okay, so we're voting yes if we want or no if we
Correct.
don't.
A yes vote. A yes vote gets Hilda on. A no vote will keep her off.
Just make sure you get all these votes. All
Mm-hmm.
right, Jen?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes for me.
And a
Megan?
yes for me.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
Yay.
Congratulations
Thank you,
and welcome.
I have goodies for you guys later. Be expecting a lot of
Oh.
emails.
Yay.
Good thing I don't check them. All right. So anyway, so
Emails.
And I did send her a whole bunch of the prior
It's fine.
minutes and
It's
stuff
fine.
from like
Yeah, that's
June to
fine.
now.
That's fine.
Yeah. Well, listen, I like a really well-educated and informed board member. So you read to your delight. I got lots of stuff for you.
All right. Welcome aboard. I don't know if you have anything to say officially now that you're on the board.
No,
But you already
thank you.
said it. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect.
Just
Short,
for
sweet.
And now you
clarification
can
for
vote
my
on
notes,
items.
Is it a 3-year term, like everybody else?
Her appointment would be
She's
I
not
just gotta
filling a
just keep
seat.
track.
Let's just
She's
go
not,
with a
right?
new. Let's just go with a new.
perfect. So she'll
3
be on
years.
3
New
years.
term.
Perfect.
Oh, it's a 3 years.
Sign her up for 3 years.
Yep, you're on. So starting
Put a ring
now.
on it.
Yeah.
Put a ring on it.
do you want to say
Perfect.
your full name? Mention that you're a Malden resident. You have kids in the school system, all of that stuff.
Right now?
Sure.
Yeah. So my name is Hilda Piguero. I have 2 boys. They're both in the Malden Public School System. They go to the Linden STEAM Academy. And I love this place. I couldn't even begin to tell you how much I love Malden. I used to work here a few years back, and I always wanted to live here and then grow up and just be around the community. And now that that's actually happening, that's why this position opening up was kind of like, this is where you need to be right now. And it falls in line with the plan that you have built out too. So I'm glad to be a part of this. I'm
Yay.
excited.
You even get to
Yay.
vote on it too, so there you go.
Yeah, no, amazing.
Well, welcome. It's nice to have you on night. Welcome.
I already updated this Secretary of State for the 501. We have to give the board members,
Mhm.
so I'll have to redo it now.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes, you will.
And I'll have to get a little bit of information from you.
And also too, Hilda, I think that we also do a little bios too, so I just have something like that ready. Who's handling? Who is that?
Yeah,
you?
if you would, if
We
you have
actually
like a
need one for
headshot,
Jenny, too.
that'd
Oh,
be great.
oh,
If you
okay,
have a
yeah.
The
headshot.
website needs updated.
The
want
too,
some
right?
update.
We have to
huh?
update the website, but I
Yeah.
was kind of waiting to
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
where everything
okay.
landed.
Okay.
So if you have a little bio and your
And a
headshot.
photo.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So Felicia is handling that right now, so I'll task you with getting
Yep.
that completed and the website updated.
Happy to do it.
Because I think we need to update all the executive levels too,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, if I just have a list of who the executive committee is too.
I'll send you
That's
the
on
new
last
one.
month's,
Meetings,
approved
yeah.
minutes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So welcome aboard. All right. Next agenda item. I'm going to turn this over to Tina. Actually, the next two. Actually, the next all of them. There you go. You're up. Go ahead. I'm looking down. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
you're right.
that's
So
it,
that's-
All right, so, as I was working through the board directive of creating a one-year strategic plan, because our conversation was, well, let's get something in place, right? I realize we have done so much work over the last 3 years that we are in such a good place with data and information and really knowing where our finances are and really knowing where we kind of want to go, that I thought a one-year strategic plan and trying to cram all the things we want to do into that 1 year is not going to be conductive, especially when we have literally 3 full-time staff members and 1 part-timer and no volunteers or interns right now. So I had to sit back on it, and I got some great feedback from Felicia, and she was like, "You're crazy.
Didn't
There's
say that.
no way." She said it in a really professional manner, by the way. It was fantastic. But she was basically like, "Yeah, ain't no way. There's no way we can do this 1 year plan." And I went back and I looked at it, and I went, "You're right. If we want to be truly successful and truly sustainable, we need to take the time to do it right. And we need to plan for it, and we need to have really definitive, like, step-by-step processes of how we're going to do this, because we are going to be starting a really one-of-a-kind operation here with our workforce development / community media / community hub partner. Like, we want to be the place that our entire community looks to when they have a thought or an idea. Right? That's a big ask for a small community media center. But I know that we can do it. And I know that we can be successful at it. And I know we can replace our cable funding if we do it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took a step back and I went, all right, what if we set our goal to fully launch the workforce development program in year 3? What does that look like? And then we know it's a priority for us to get something going with the youth. And we know we want, and I have a really good idea of how I want to develop this after school program to help serve our community in that aspect. We know we want to do youth engagement in everything we do. So I'm like, okay, well, we need to make sure that that's top priority in everything we're working on. But we also need to know we still have a lot of basics to get through. We have a lot of board governance that needs to be done, a lot of community education that needs to happen. And those can't fall off the plate, because then when we get out in year 2 and everybody's like, well, who's Uma? Like, who are you? And we don't have anything to tell them, right? So that's the background to this plan. And everyone should have a copy in front of you, and I thought we would just kind of run through it. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to really deep dive and have comments. I don't know if you want to go page by page and kind of talk about it, but I knew that this is where I wanted to spend our time tonight. Now, I will say this, I have no expectation of this being approved this evening, because I really want this to be a dialogue with my partners here, right? I have the vision, I have the thoughts, but I'm really looking for your feedback. And when I had sent this out originally, I said I had not gotten feedback from staff at the time. I have now received feedback from everyone, except for Leah, but I think she's good to go with it. So she's been a little busy with her election stuff. So, and again, another reason why it doesn't necessarily need to be voted on tonight, because it would be great to continue the conversation as a group of what this looks like.
And like, what do you need to digest this plan? Like, do you need a work session? Do you need something facilitated? Are there ideas that you see in here but you have questions about? So it's,
And that's this conversation.
yeah.
To be honest, because I really worked hard to get it in your hands by December 31st, and it was in your email box by December 31st. So I'm hoping, having had a couple weeks to look it over, we can start having a conversation tonight about it, because it does need to be implemented by January 1. So would you like me to just kind of go through it step by, sort of section by section, or?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, especially for the members for those who are not in attendance tonight.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good. So yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start off with, you should be looking at a document that says Urban Media Arts, UMA, Strategic Plan 2026 through 2028. This 3-year strategic plan provides a clear roadmap for UMA's operational, educational, and capital priorities from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028. It balances ambition with feasibility, considering UMA's current staffing capacity while preparing the organization for structural growth. I'm not going to read this line by line, but there are a few things that should be called out. The alignment framework, strategic plan versus fiscal year coordination. So our fiscal year starts on July 1 every year, but the way that we've been doing our strategic planning process, our strategic plan starts on January 1. So there's a little bit of a disconnect with our budgeting section versus our planning section. So it may, we may want to look at revising either the strategic plan. Well, I mean, we're not going to change when our fiscal year is, so
Right.
we need to just either know that, much like our cable funding, it comes in at an off time, and we need to know what we're planning for financially in January rather than May, sort of thing. Or we need to, and that's part of the conversation about the 3-year budgets too.
So with that being said, would it make more sense, and I'm just throwing this out there, to try and catch up right now and say, let's do a 6-month plan that brings us into the summer when the fiscal year starts, and then from there we can do 3 years. And just for the 6 months we can hit off the really important things that'll get us going, jump-starting the whole 3-year plan. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. But it would align the fiscal year with the strategic plan year.
So part of what really felt like a gong going off in my head when I was thinking about the 1-year plan and deciding to go in the 3-year plan is like, we need to be looking long term right now, because there's so much that's happening right this minute that is going to be affecting us long term. So all of these improvements that we're talking about, they're going to be in place in 3 years, and those are what we're going to have as tools to do this program. So I don't think we can wait 6 months and do the little operational things that need to be done and then launch our plan. I think it's okay right now to propose this as our 3-year, and we come back next January and go, okay, you know what, let's revise this, and in June of 2027, let's do another 3-year.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Can we do the opposite and just make this a 3.5-year plan with the goal going 3 years after that?
I mean, that's up to you.
I
Mike-
guess I don't understand what the advantage is to having them aligned. Is there a
It's
good?
just budgetary.
Yeah.
It's budgetary.
Makes it easier to.
Yeah.
You could also,
Yeah.
as a board, decide, like, at the 3-month mark to do an
review,
evaluation
right.
and say, do you want to realign the plan so that it matches the fiscal year?
Mm.
And as Tina provides an update with the ED, she could say, you know, these are the things that we've hit, these are the places we need help, these are the things that are not going to be able to be met, like, and then as a board, you could give us that advisement.
Well, and I was going to say, I think as a board too, we reserve the right, like, and I
Yes,
obviously,
absolutely.
well, not even just that, but like to your point, what you're saying, right? Like, I think that obviously working in this setting, that in your ED report, if it sounds like it's not aligning at that point, I think we do reserve that right to say, well, maybe we should refocus this at this point, or maybe we should table that part and what do you call it? Table this, and then maybe revisit that. Maybe, I don't know, another quarter or something like that.
Well, and maybe just not to step on what you were saying, I apologize. To step back just a moment and give. Well, we do have some new board members who might not be aware of my background too. Is that I have done multiple 5-year strategic plans to great success in other organizations, and so my outlook on a strategic plan is it's a living, breathing document. It's
Right.
constantly changing, and there's constant check marks. There's constant reevaluate. Like, I have my strategic plan open on my desk every single day, right? Because that's my roadmap.
Mhm.
So when we look at this is not an end all be all, because it's a breathing. I call it a breathing document in my mind. So the check-ins are absolutely built into this plan to say, okay, let's reevaluate. Where are we? How's it going? What do we need? That kind of thing. Just like this last year's strategic plan, it was an abbreviated version of that, but you got to check in every single month, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
And the board is in this plan, like
Mhm.
the board development, board leadership, board
Right.
involvement. So it's super important that that it's an exchange and that you read it and we get feedback from you. So
Blown up.
I don't know what's going on.
So just underneath that, you'll see sort of the strategic budget alignment process. So this plan actually gives us a timeline on how to keep it balanced between our budget season versus strategic planning season, and that's right underneath there. Moving on to youth engagement as a standing priority. As I mentioned, youth engagement remains a continuous and cross-cutting goal throughout this plan. It directly informs UMA's educational programs, capital investments, and development strategies. Each department and initiative will include youth-focused metrics and deliverables to ensure UMA's continued leadership in empowering young voices. So, every single goal, every single strategy in here has some kind of connection to how we are connecting with our youth. So,
and we'll have like operational and functional documents and
Yes.
plans that flesh all of those things out.
yep. Item number 2 is our strategic goal overview. So our top 5 goals or priorities are: number 1, capital and technology modernization. We need the tools to be able to do our job. 2 is the education and workforce pipeline. That's where we're going to find our sustainability, right? And number 3 is our fund development and sustainability, right? Those are kind of hand in hand. Number 4, we really need to, fine tune our board governance. We need to expand our board. We need to get more community involvement in our board, and we really need to work on leadership development as well. And that builds that foundation, right? And then also our 5th priority, in no particular order, by the way, except for the number 1, is city, school, and community partnerships. Like, that's always going to be a priority to us. And then ongoing, our 3 overreaching goals are earned revenue, community collaboration, and visibility and accessibility are also included in this report. So before I dive into year 1, any questions on any of that thus far? So year one is to be considered 2026. We focus on infrastructure, governance, and foundation. So if you all know me, I use that word a lot, foundational. We got to build those strong foundations or we're just going to crumble, right? So this is stabilizing and strengthening our core systems. So we know we have to get the playback system and our studio control room upgrades done. We need those tools. We want to launch and sustain our internship and apprenticeship program, which is ages 16 plus with no upper age limit. That's that initial pilot program into our workforce development apprenticeship program. We have a fairly fleshed out plan. I think it could potentially be implemented in January. But I need to circle back and have a conversation with the staff a little bit more about responsibilities and how that is going to work. Launching it in early part of 2026 is going to put an incredible strain on the current staff's bandwidth because we have to train these interns on all the areas. And so there is a little concern about how we're going to be able to handle that. We talked about the initial program would only have 3 individuals and each person would have their, they would cycle through staff. So that kind of thing, we're just finalizing details. But the purpose and process of the internship/apprenticeship program, the initial internship program is a 9-month program. They have to commit to the 9 months. The first 3 initial months are an unpaid internship where they learn pretty much all of our operations and they shadow and they help produce content, that kind of thing. Within that 3-month process, they go through a review process with the staff here at UMA and are encouraged to apply to the secondary part of it. They have to apply again to continue on within the 6-month program. If they're accepted into the 6-month program, then they get a paid stipend, which we're looking at partners to help grant fund that stipend. So their overall time here at UMA will be a 9-month program. By the time that the first round of interns get into their first part of their 6 months, we'll be bringing in another round of interns to start the process over again. So within 1 year, we could have up to 12 individuals helping us in the program. Once they get through the 9-month program, then we talk about the pre-apprenticeship and the apprenticeship programs that are really our workforce development programs. So by the time that the first students are through the initial internship program, we should have some metrics and stuff available for our pre-apprenticeship program. So it all kind of flows, and then it relieves the bandwidth stress on our remaining staff without us having to hire somebody on. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Okay,
just
I do
like
have
a
one question.
I'm sorry.
Is this separate than, say, college internships, which go by college semesters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. This
Okay.
is a one-of-a-kind internship in media arts. So
Okay.
I should also clarify, and I'll do a whole presentation on this program, by the way, like you'll see the whole overview. But we are only taking interns that are focused in the media arts realm, right? Because again, we want this to develop into that workforce program. So while we appreciate any kind of intern, the focus is supposed to be media arts, and that includes marketing and social media and 3D, all kinds of things. But if somebody's interested in, say, environmental law, we're not the internship for you, right?
All right, so you'll take somebody who's not in college. Is that?
Yes. Yeah, so that's the beauty of this, and this is what I love about it, is there is no age limit. So, if you're like me and switched careers when you were 26 years old and don't have a degree in your career, you can still do something like this and get a job in the field. That's our goal. You don't have to have college education. You don't have to have high school education, honestly, to go through our program eventually. So.
We wouldn't necessarily exclude someone who's in a college program. And
No,
would
not
get-
at all.
I was
get
thinking
credits
more,
for
I was
it.
thinking more.
But that's only
it
one
doesn't
way.
meet the standard semester. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So if they wanted credit for it, it may or may not fit what the college wants,
Yeah.
but they could
But the
potentially still be
rotation-
Yeah.
through our program.
But
yeah.
Well, I'm
so,
just
but when the
thinking-
rotation comes through, is what I'm saying is, so we got one that starts. So we every 3 months, a new crop of interns are coming in. So that could align with their college.
Right, like I can tell you, like Vanessa had to
Carolyn.
do say 16 hours a week, and she had to do Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Yeah.
and she had to do it like January to
Yeah.
early May,
Mhm.
so you could work with that if needed.
But the thing is,
That's how
what
you
I
vote.
will say, one of the challenges that we found running our old internship program is accommodating that.
Yeah.
So we're going to say, no, our program runs from this date to this date. And if it fits within your college requirement, then great, apply for it. But we're not going to accommodate college requirements,
Okay, that makes
timelines,
sense.
right?
Yeah.
Like, we're happy to report to the
Yeah.
colleges and whatever they need for their internships. We're trying to build something very specific here, and I honestly, my hope is to make it competitive, right? Like, you
Alright, so
want this internship.
So I just wrote like not focused on traditional college internships.
No,
That
not
would
at
be
all.
okay. I just want to make sure my notes
Yeah.
are okay.
But we have also partners in the community that we've met through different conferences and organizations. And locally, like Mass Hire came in, loves our facility, has reviewed Tina's plan, has already suggested ways that we can get funding for it, things that we need to look at to make sure that it is workforce ready as the state guidelines determine, and also connecting us with resources like other community colleges who have programs that they would love to pay people to go through a workforce ready program like ours. But we don't want an age limit on it. We don't want it only to be college because it can be much broader.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and my question was, are you aware of any other community access television stations that are doing a similar?
There's one. Cambridge is doing what's called the Loop Lab. Mass Hires and Felicia both have encouraged me to get over there and see. I haven't been over there yet. I'm well acquainted with the executive director over there, so I've been meaning to pop over. But there has been a bit of a hesitation on my part, honestly, because I want this to be sort of designed and implemented with my vision in mind, and I don't want it to be. I don't want to get
Duplicated.
sidetracked.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it won't. That it's not happening. I'm getting over there, and I want to see it.
Right.
But I don't. And that community is completely different from what our
Correct.
community is,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
So.
Right.
Do you have details already worked out, like how many hours, how many days, anything
No.
like that? Or so that's all?
So, Yep, that's coming. So, okay. But what I want to kind of highlight here too is it's age 16 plus with no upper age limit. Anybody under the age of 18 has to have written permission from their parents to participate in the program. We did 16 plus because of the state requirements on youth
working
under the
peoples.
age. And as part of the secondary bullet point, is also looking to launch the full curriculum pilot of the After School Media Arts program in September of 2026. So I have a really well thought out timeline of how I want to run the program. And it's a program from September to May, after school, 2 days a week, like an hour or two after a program. And each week they learn a different aspect of media. So, and it all flows into a final project that we will do like an event for. Right now I'm trying to figure out who's going to take the kids in and process them, who's going to be watching them and doing these stuff. And so I'm trying to coordinate in a way that the interns who would be in their like 8th month by that time would be there to oversee the program rather than me sitting there, teaching the class.
Are you thinking this for like middle school age, high school age?
It is specifically for middle school
Middle school.
students. Yes. And I want to note the term pilot. So initially it was suggested that we start it in January in a very limited capacity, and I felt like that was a really heavy lift for our current staff to try to establish, and it didn't provide us any resources to have these children here when it's just us, right? So I said, but I don't want to wait till 2027 to launch it, because we kind of know what we want to do. So the happy medium was to launch a pilot program in 2026, do the full curriculum for the whole program, see what the engagement is, see how it turned out, look at the feedback we get, and then by 2027 have a very well-established program, much like we did with the youth workshops, right? We know what worked, what didn't. We're hoping we're going to do those again, but now we're going to take everything we learned and put that into place for next year. So same situation with the after-school program. And hopefully the after-school program will be self-sustaining in a very small amount of time. So, yeah.
So will you still be trying to do a summer program separate from this?
Yes. Obviously, prioritizing grant funding and establishing UMA's individual giving plan. Felicia and I have chatted a little bit about that, and
It's always been on my plate. So when you look at fundraising, it's always about diversifying. And we have a very well-established membership program, but we also have what's called the sustainer program, who are donors. So they don't get member benefits, but they're giving us money. So there's ways that through things like having a good CRM, which is a customer relationship management system, tracking people, making our processing of memberships easier, making the membership program more robust, more engaged, more interactive. There's donors within that group. And then how do we engage them differently than we would members? So it's something we've always talked about. It's just a matter of having a strategic plan and board engagement to help us do that.
well, and then also implementing those foundational pieces that
Mhm.
we still need to implement, right? So, yeah.
And hesitant to spend money on a thing without it being the right thing. So we've had to do a lot of, like, through the audit, Tina's looked at our different systems and said, is this really worth it? Is it working for us? Could we replace it? Could we just get rid of 3 things and have 1? So we need to do that work first and make sure that we're accounting for things properly before we create another expenditure.
Yes.
Great.
Complete board recruitment, onboarding, and subcommittee formation. So that would be priority in year 1. Again, building that foundation. Strengthening UMA's partnership with the City of Malden for PEG compliance and advocacy. So I actually got feedback from almost everybody in the team, but what does this mean? And actually what it really means is having a playback system that shoots out the reports I need to be compliant with our contract, right? Making sure that we are compliant with all the reporting requirements within our contract agreement, making sure that the city feels supported by our services, that kind of thing. So it's not going out and looking for new projects for us to take part in. It's excelling at the services we do provide, right? And then another bullet point was to conduct a full review and update of UMA's operational policies and membership structure. The feedback I also got is we do need to update our personnel policies and job descriptions and stuff like that, which we'll get into a little bit here. So, pillars of implementation. We talk about what the pillar is, so that, again, that's all those goals we talked about. And what the focus would be, the primary goal is, and what is the deliverable. So this plan breaks it out into, all right, so we need to do capital upgrades. So what's the focus in those? What's our goal for that? And how do we get that accomplished? So as we go through the plan, they should have these pillars of implementation in every year. So those are just measurables, I guess, is what I would say. I'm going to jump down to the leadership compensation and role realignment. So this is part of a leftover piece of this year's strategic plan when we talked about what was the goal? Okay, I actually want to get the right verbiage. UMA team reorganization, right? So we knew we had a reorganization that needed to be placed in process. We need definitive job descriptions and responsibilities, salary requirements, a review process in place, peer review process, ED 360 review process, like all of that still needs to be implemented into our operations. And year one is the best time to do that, because we need to bump up our our fund development specialist into a director role, so that she has the what's the word I'm looking for, the
Gravitas.
yes, to be able to really be a partner to the executive director in this process, because I'm not interested in having staff that I direct to do things. I'm interested in having partners to get this plan moving and being a true community partner. So yes, while I would oversee these positions, it's really about a partnership with my team to make sure that we're hitting all of these goals and moving forward, right?
It's also creating a better feedback loop and like, you know,
Yes.
like understanding truly what your deliverables are and what your job description is and what your scope is. Because right now we're doing so many things that potentially are outside of scope because we have to.
So the director of, or the fund development specialist would become the director of development, which we know we need. You know, we beta tested the specialist position for the last 3 years. It's been incredibly successful. If we really want to truly sustain ourselves, then we have to have a direct, like this is a level that we have to have. And same for the director of programming, who is a current title right now. But having clear responsibilities, a clear job description, what am I supposed to be responsible for? That's really going to help define our process moving forward. So that would come with some different salary requirements, which is well within our budget, and basically a sort of a restructure of our organization. So, and then we would start filling in our support pieces as we go along. But having those 3 pillars within the organization, I think, is going to be a benefit. Underneath, each year talks about some sort of staffing addition. I'm in agreement with this. The feedback I got was that we don't really need a development grant person right now. We need either member services marketing person. So we're looking at bringing on a part-time individual that would specifically focus on our membership, our current membership, how we grow our membership, how we talk to our community, that kind of thing. And I think that really aligns with what we want to do in the future. What that looks like or when that person will be brought on, we don't have those answers right now, but it should happen in year 1. Yeah. And then just prioritizing the neighborhood view coordinator position. Part of the contract agreement is that we're going to give an initial 3 months to see how the program is going. And Ann is actually volunteering her time to do this because she understands our funding challenges, but has asked to be, at renewal, we need to contract a fee for that service. So we cannot use our cable fundings for that. So we have to come up with that money. So
And that's something else we can have a conversation about. Like, I know there's specific things out there that I can be applying for, but
Yeah.
it would be good to have your involvement.
Sure.
okay. So on the next page, you'll see a quarter roadmap. So it kind of breaks it down on what we should be focusing on which quarter and how do we successfully accomplish our first year of strategic goals. So that's a breakdown of that. And then our metrics are just below that. So, it gives you very specific, grow your membership by 20% or, have 4 to 5 new board members onboarded, that kind of thing, right? Any questions on first year right now? As we go through this, if you have questions on the overall plan, I encourage you to write them down and we can talk about them at the end, right? Okay. Year 2 is refinement and educational expansion. So we're looking to evaluate, refine, and expand our educational and creative infrastructure. We know we're moving in the direction of workforce development, internships, apprentices, being more of a community hub, that kind of thing. So the first 4 bullet points are really about the after-school program and the internship apprenticeship program. So we want to look and refine and expand the after-school media arts program. We want to conduct comprehensive program evaluations and stakeholder feedback sessions. Adjust the curriculum and staffing structure based on our pilot data, and strengthen our internship integration within the after-school program to cross-monitor. So again, when we talk about year 2, we're talking about January of 2027. So here's what's interesting about this. We're not launching the after-school program or pilot program until September of 2026. So we're only going to have about 6 months of data if we try to do this in December. So we really have to wait until June once we go through the whole program, but we need to be prepared to get those metrics, to get that feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to have that process in place so we know we can get all that information. And then we need to plan to be working on that in July and August before we launch again in September and make tweaks, right? So this is actually giving us that vision in the future of the things that we need to be actually focusing on to make this stuff successful. We need to complete our IT infrastructure upgrades and expand our podcast studio capacity. When it comes to the tech audit, the technical capital expenditures that we need to make, there's a little fluidity in that. I don't know if I'm completely comfortable in calling out very specific projects within this program. I think if, except after year 1, like, we know playback has to happen. We're looking at different things. Like, I think if we have a sort of a secondary level and say, okay, we know all of this stuff needs to get done, let's plan on how we're going to get that done. Is it through a giving program? Is it through the CFF funds?
Mm-hmm.
Is it through a capital camp? Like, I almost feel like our capital goals have to be a separate document from this goal, but they need to be a part of this document.
They're woven
right?
in. Yeah, because
Right?
there might be a piece of equipment or something, if we expanded our podcast capability, that could generate revenue for us, or people could have meetings here, or if we upgraded our camera system, that could be something that feeds our workforce development and our internship program. So,
Well, and then just like I said earlier, we realized today that we should really do the podcast bay before we start on the control room, because we need a spot for our producers to produce, right? So this document is already out of date. It's already breathing on me, right?
We're not breathing, right? Yeah,
Right, exactly. So implement corporate sponsorship and UMA Art Gallery revenue plans developed in year 1. So again, we want to constantly talk about diversified funding. There are so many ways for us to raise money. I don't want to count out the art gallery. And I also want to be a part of our very active artist community here in Malden. And we've got blank walls. Why not do something with that? But does it need to does it always need to be a socially conscious
Theme.
Yes, like, it could be just, let's do emerging artists, let's do teen artists, let's do, let's provide our local artists the wall space to showcase their stuff. And there are ways to generate revenue out of that, right? And the same for the corporate sponsorships. So there's, that at that point we could be looking at naming rooms downstairs, or,
Exactly.
So,
we can also be doing
Buy it
things.
for us.
yeah.
We have community groups approach us too about the Malden events calendar. So there's ways virtually we can find folks to sponsor, or we could even do a virtual art gallery.
That's a great idea. Neighborhood View, too. We have opportunities, so.
We have to be careful about what we put on Neighborhood View, but I because of our status.
Yes.
But that could be vetted through the advisory board.
And then another goal point is to finalize the workforce development framework. So we're already thinking about, okay, what sort of, by the end of year 2, by the end of year 2027, we should have a really good comprehensive guide of what we need to have in place to be truly a certified workforce development facility. So. Again, we have those pillars of implementation, so we've got our different areas of focus, the primary goal, and then what are our deliverables. Looking down at staffing additions. So I've said for quite some time, one of my first priorities for a hire will be an education coordinator, or a program manager. I think you could sort of call them either. I have no interest in getting a technical consultant for ongoing IT or podcast support. Like, that's just got thrown in there. I'm really happy with our contractors. I think if we, talk about making sure to budget for our IT
Right.
contractors and engineers, then, and also implementing equipment that has warranty systems and support. Like, we have to account for that when we talk about capital expenditures. So, yeah. So the quarterly roadmap, again, broken down, what's our deliverables. We get our final program report about the after-school program and the internship program out to the board. We're making those adjustments. We're getting our fall season launched with the improvements, and then we're getting our certification material and documentation complete to launch that workforce program. And then we also have our metrics. And I like that our after-school enrollment is like 12 to 16 kids. That's a pretty good chunk,
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to year 3 already. So in year 3, we're focusing on expansion, visibility, and workforce launch. So we're talking about scaling and sustaining these programs, right? So we're already in. You think about this is really just like a 2-year plan, and by year 3 we're launching the program that we've been wanting to launch. So we also want to implement a field production aspect of our program. So we need to have the equipment ready to go, and the instructors, i.e. James, ready to go to instruct these kids how to do this. But it's also a program that we could get underwriting for. So while we're training these individuals, we have people out actually getting underwriting for the productions that we're about to do, right? So, and we think about underwriting, you think about, let's say we agree to cover 50% of the Malden High School basketball games. We have announcers to do that. We can get an announcer table with a screen and have underwriting on it, right? So that, we are planning for those capital expenditures in year 2. We're implementing them in year 3. Complete accessibility and energy efficiency upgrades. That's when we're talking about getting some of this upper level accessibility work finalized so that we can start on the lower level kind of thing. Get launch our workforce development program. And when I talk about launching this program, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have 50 people in the doors learning how to be media artists, right? It could be a soft launch. It can be, maybe it's 3 to 4 people taking the program, seeing how it's worked. Again, it's that scalable, getting that feedback. Everything we do, we should launch it, pilot it, get the feedback, refine it, do it again, get the feedback, refine it until it works. So,
And that's different than the internship program.
the workforce development
Yeah.
program, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So what will happen by the time that we're actually into a sustainable workforce development program? I don't know if our internship program will look the same, right? It might or might not. So
That makes
we
sense.
might integrate that into our workforce development program. So, but we need to get it launched now for the interns because we need the help here.
Mm.
Yeah. And then, as I was talking earlier, develop the sports coverage program with intern sponsor collaboration. So that's kind of like, that whole thing. Enhance our professional development opportunities for staff. So we talked about hiring instructors into the workforce development program, but maybe we could certify some of our staff already, or our year 3 interns. They could be certified in certain areas in the workforce development that we don't have to hire outside educators to do it, right? And then we continue annual progress and earned revenue, collaboration, and accessibility. So again, the pillars are broken out. Staffing additions, the technical production assistant, that position would actually be our interns that have now been through the program. Maybe they're year 2 interns at this point, right? So, and then the workforce program coordinator. Now I don't know if that's necessarily a position that needs to come in or not. So, again, we're looking at roadmap, deliverables. We're talking about we do need to upgrade the lighting in here and evaluate our programs and sustainability. For our ongoing multi-year goals, we talked about earned revenue. We talk about sustain and expand UMA's rentals, workshops, and production services, and we should try to hit a goal of 10% annually. In community collaborations, we're always talking about wanting to be that hub of community collaboration, so that never loses focus. And then our annual accessibility audit and maintaining multilingual, ADA compliance, all of that stuff.
Which the playback system will help with.
Significantly, yeah. But it's also things like hearing assistance devices here, so if there's somebody that has a hard time, or are we purchasing equipment that's easily used for somebody that might be slightly sight impaired? Like we have
or
to
have
think
mobility issues.
Yes,
or,
mobility issues. Like everything we do has that implement into it. So implementation timeline, again, just kind of an overview. We're looking at our infrastructure and governance in year 1, education and growth in year 2, and scaling and workforce launch in year 3. Evaluation and accountability. We do a quarterly review with the executive director and department heads. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a lot more than quarterly. We do an annual strategic progress report shared with the board and the city of Malden. Again, that's going to be more than just once a year. And we commit to doing a mid-plan review in quarter 4 to assess our pacing and funding alignments. Then we have a list of KPIs, right? So we've got our capital projects. Target by 2028 is 90% completion. Education programs, we're doing an 85% retention rate. Fundraising, we want to be 20% over our baseline operations. I think that number could actually go up in a 3-year time span. Board engagement, we want 90% participation. Program or workforce development for program accreditation readiness, we want to have that in place by 2028. And then our accessibility, we want to always be as fully compliant as we can. So, in conclusion, this comprehensive 3-year plan strategically sequences UMA's growth to ensure achievable outcomes. Each year builds upon the last, starting with foundational infrastructure and governance work, expanding into educational and creative growth, and accumulating in program scalability and workforce readiness. By pacing and implementation and aligning staff, funding, and leadership development, UMA positions itself as a resilient, community-centered media hub leading into the next decade. So, that's
Excellent.
Nice one, Sue. No, this is.
Monster.
I'm not done yet. So the next again, we're going to talk about, we're going to provide opportunities for feedback here. The next document you're going to see is an example of an implementation support handbook. And I thought it was really important for you all to see this because while the 3-year plan I just went over, to me that's the 10,000 foot level, right? Now we're getting into the 100-foot level. And this could be expanded and down to the most minute detail. All right, how are we going to get this to happen? So this is just an example. I wanted to just give you an idea of things that will be broken out within this plan. So we need to create a binder for all the capital expenditures we have to do, right? We need an implementation packet for our after-school media arts program. That kind of thing. So I wanted you to have this to see that, how do I put this? I am often told that I keep a lot of stuff in my head. And so this is my head. This is my head kind of thing. So that's just an example. So by the time we approve the strategic plan, the next step would be to really compile a comprehensive implementation handbook with checklists and metrics and the whole 9 yards.
This is very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
It's just because it just goes hand in hand with how
Yes.
we can best support you with this.
Wonderful.
For sure. Yeah. No, it
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
And as you review it, that's the greatest question. Like, how do I plug in? How do I help? Where do I fit in? What is the board role? Like, how do you want to incorporate that in? Like, board governance is great, but like, how do you want to engage? What ideas can you bring? Do you want to do a review of yourselves? Do you feel engaged? What do you need from staff? How can staff be more available to you? What questions might you have about what our day looks like? You know?
Yeah. And so, yeah, that even says, down in 2026, Q1, having a toolkit already, a bylaws summary, an orientation deck, a DEI statement, onboarding sign-off sheet. Like, we should have a checklist when we bring new board members in. Have they signed their paperwork? Have they seen do they have a copy of our bylaws? Do we have all their information, including stuff for the website so that UMA can update the website? Are they assigned to a subcommittee? Like, all of that stuff, if we could have a packet ready for them, would be amazing. Mm-hmm. And I would be willing to help do that because I want to put together some educational pieces about UMA, how we're funded, how we're run, what our vision is, that kind of thing. So I think it should, like, I'd want to hand Hilda this packet and go, here you go. Instead of running out there doing all your research by yourself, here, let's start you here, and then if you have questions, kind of thing, right?
The only thing that I would say, it has to be like a decent package. When I started, I was handed this folder that had like a lot of information, but nothing that I really needed.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, like talking points. What are some of our upcoming events? Where do we need help? Where could you fit in? Like, or even, like having coffee with Tina and talking to her about that.
Yeah.
Or if you want to talk to me about fundraising
Yes.
stuff, I'm always open to it.
Well, it's also good for if you're recruiting.
Right.
You can show them this and say, this is what's involved, and,
Yeah.
check it out.
And we're here to support them,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I'm not going to deep dive into this. I just wanted to give it to you as an example of what would be supporting of that. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump right into the next bullet
ahead.
point because
Yeah,
it's
go
kind of
right ahead.
hand in
Yeah.
hand. So what you should be looking at this document, the kind of yep, that's the one.
Oh, there's so much different.
So, when thinking about, okay, I now have numbers about our cable operating funds for the past 3 years, so I can do projections and thinking about what we need in the strategic plan for financial support. I put together a document that does some assumptions and and kind of aligns our budget with our strategic plan, and I wanted to run through some of this with you. The number one thing that I highlighted that you should know is that projected decline of cable funding is by $35,000 per year. So by year 2028, we'll be down $100 and some thousand, right? But knowing that, we can now plan for that. We should also plan to continuously increase our submission into our contingency fund to plan for things like that, if we need to do some more fund development. But then it breaks it out by year, what the potential cost would be to add that development assistant, grant coordinator, or what we thought of as the member services. That's a pretty standard salary at $20,000 a year. It's a part-time position. That salary is for neighborhood view coordinator is about what we need to come up with to contract that out. And then we're looking at year 2 already. Year 2, what do we need to put in there for staffing? Well, we don't really need the technical consultant, yeah, that's probably what it's going to cost us on an annual basis, but we already put that into the budget. But the education coordinator or program manager in a part-time position, yeah, we could probably get away year 2 with doing it part-time, but by year 3, we're probably going to want a full-time position. So if we're already looking at $28K, which I think is low for that type of position, we're going to have to plan for that to be able to implement that. And then we talk about the stipends. So the stipends actually are estimated and ramp up in program scale. So once we get to year 4 or 5, those interns, apprenticeships, they're making industry standard salaries, right? So we're hoping that we're going to be moving them out into the workforce by then, and we'll be able to pay the lower stipends to, the developing interns and apprenticeships. But you got to accommodate for that. And then, we were wanting to launch our workforce development program in 2028. So we're going to need material and probably some instructors, and then again, bumping that up and by an annual basis by $10,000. So, and then we'll get to a point where we'll understand what our operating budget is with that workforce program, and we'll be able to provide more numbers. But we're already looking into 2029, right? And then we talk about our revenue designations for our goals. So we want to grow our individual giving by 10 to 12% per year. Our corporate sponsorships, we want to get implemented and growth. Earned revenue per year, 10% again. Workforce tuition and sponsorships. So this is where I'm talking about when we can sustain ourselves. Our goal is to find someone else to pay for our workforce development program. Someone else to pay us to run this program because they love it, they support it, they want it. If it's I don't know if it's the state government, the federal government, somebody that just really has a lot of money. Mark Wahlberg. I'm just saying. Our goal is to completely replace our 2020 cable operating fund numbers with workforce development program funding, right? And anything we get from the cable funding is just the cherry on top. That's our goal. And then to continue to sustain Neighborhood View with grants too. So, now, all that said, tell me how amazing I am. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Or tell me you hate it. I don't know. Whatever. Or ask me questions.
I think it's incredibly well thought
Laid
out.
out, yeah. Yeah, it's really well laid out.
Yeah. I hope the other board members are able to sit with you to explain it, because I think it's
We'll make
helpful.
sure to get them the link to tonight's meeting too, and
Yeah.
maybe we can get some chapter markers in there so they can go directly to this.
that.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think my notes are good enough for,
Yeah, there's
I-
a lot of
I
information.
was
That
gonna
is-
say, there's a lot of you. It's
Yeah.
your
It
notes.
makes
Are,
sense.
It has. You have to hear it in
Yeah.
her like
Yeah.
voice. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't read that off of minutes.
Well, I mean, you have been sitting with the document for 2 weeks, so I don't know if so. Out of curiosity, did anyone read it prior to tonight's meeting? Did
Yes.
you
Yes.
understand it when you read it?
I did to a point, but not
this is
not
not
as a
hearing.
whole, overarching.
your explanation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hearing
Made
you
it
actually.
mean
know
something.
it.
Yeah.
That's-
You needed to hear it outside
Yeah.
of Tina's voice.
This, as a staff person, I read it and I was like, oh my God, how are we going to do all this? And
Right.
she's like, no, this is the 10,000
Yeah.
foot view. And I was like, oh my God. Because there's so much in there
Yeah.
that I was like, oh, but like, let's evaluate what's going on now and then we figure out how to get there. She's like, oh yeah, I have the plan. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. Because how are we going to do all this?
Now I'm just gonna hand you the document and go.
Yeah, good
Go.
luck. Yeah.
I do think I like how it's framed, and that you mentioned before about building a foundation, and that's how this is built, with this foundation. This builds on top of this, and on top of
Iteration,
yes, yeah. So that's good. I like that.
And then how can the board do that? Where do you fit in? Like, do you want to be doing job descriptions and evaluations? And there's information that I just went to a conference and it was super helpful, and it was really about like the more that boards have well-defined roles and understand really how they can plug in, the more successful they are at retention, and also it benefits the organization. And it was some really simple kind of common sense things. I put all of my notes and everything from the conference in my drive, and I sent it to the board. So you please look at it at your leisure, but there's really helpful things that like I never thought of that perhaps you might want to use or pull from or steal.
And I think this was a very thought out timeline, at least for what you're looking at.
Okay. I'm super curious about your feedback, so.
Well, I read this when I got it 2 days ago. I think the plan is it makes sense to me. I guess it's just trying to see how it's gonna play out with
Yeah.
all the other pieces. I definitely would love to sit down and have some
Awesome.
coffee for sure.
Yes.
Because I've already had some things that I've already put on Word to kind of complement from the last
Wonderful.
meeting that we spoke about. So seeing this aligns with kind of what we've already been putting together. So I hope it's a good fit and you
Yes,
guys can
I-
agree with
I'm
it.
sure it
So
will be.
right now it's kind of just like refreshing hearing it from you, because then it puts everything together.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
As opposed to just reading it and being like, is this gonna work? Is it
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
You know? But I actually enjoy this. It's very refreshing. I've had some other directors that are not this not this thorough, so it was
I'm a
refreshing
little
to
thorough,
read.
Yeah, you'll learn that about me.
Very thorough.
Nice.
Lori, do you have questions or comments?
No, I think everything's good. I mean, I will admit, I'm a little disappointed that we're going like one school year without that much youth programming, since that's something that I've wanted since it stopped. But I think like going forward after that, it sounds really good. And I did, like, one idea that I just thought of, like, I don't know if you work with, like, the director of guidance for the public schools, Erin Craven.
No.
Like, she'd be really good, because some of this stuff, like, you don't need college for, but it could be very good for people not going to college.
Mhm.
And she might be a good resource
So-
to help with that. And she's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. So when we get into truly defining this
Yeah.
implementation plan, the handbook, all of that is going to be called out within the system. So again, I understand your feedback on being disappointed that the program's not starting until next September, but understanding that there's a lot of legwork we still
Yeah,
need
no,
to
I
do and
understand that.
implement and
Just-
get in there.
Just I've wanted it for
And
so long, of course
relationship
it's-
building, right? So we've talked about how I don't have a relationship with a high school media teacher. We're not as connected with the school district as we'd like to be. We're going to be building up that relationship and working on those relationships
And I
up to
can-
the launch of that.
Like, I have a-
And I'm sorry, just one more thing, is that the overall goal through every year is youth engagement. So every goal we do, everything we're doing is focused on youth engagement. So, yeah,
I have a good connection with Erin Craven that if you want to reach out to her, I can help you.
great. I absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Again, that's where
Yeah.
you can plug in, right?
And that's where I think like the board can help with, and that everybody knows different people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
the staff and the board, like we all know whoever.
It's a web, and it's
Yeah.
partnerships. Like we don't
Yeah,
want to
like-
be the ones doing the heavy lifting all the time. We want to partner with organizations. You know, I've written a few grants recently that we haven't gotten, but I've written letters of support for other organizations that got those grants, and now that benefits us because we'll be able to partner with them with those funds.
And we are
So-
getting pulled into more and more of those conversations
Yes.
about partnering with other grant writers and organizations, right? Just another way to diversify our funding. Because while we didn't get that grant, the person that did now is going to be giving UMA funding to help assist with that program, right?
Gamers and Twitch streaming and super exciting.
Yeah.
Like didn't understand half what he was talking about, but he is so in for community media
Yeah.
and excited about doing his project. And I read his grant proposal and I wrote a letter of support. I sort of didn't understand what he was talking about, but I just thought it sounded really exciting, really interesting. So yeah, that we're going to be a fiscal sponsor, hopefully.
Yeah, the workforce development, that's the one I'm really excited to see that launch. Like that's really something where I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to like have something like that in this community. Like I wish it was around when I was younger, honestly.
Yeah.
Literally
Like, I
said the
really-
same thing when I was
Yeah.
looking at all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that was something that was around.
Yeah.
Like, I might,
Yeah.
so.
And the sports coverage too is going to be a huge part of that
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
something the
Definitely huge
community,
community
wants,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
and it's something that could lead direct
Correct.
to
Correct.
profession. So
Mhm.
But you're right about the guidance counselor as well, because they can direct to a workforce
Yeah.
Right.
development here, so that's all good. It's totally ambitious, really ambitious, and that's the way it should be, so that's
Yes.
why I'm excited to see it
And
all
I was
laid
scared
out.
when I read how ambitious it was. Because I was like, oh,
You should
my
have seen the
God.
first one.
In terms of education, the state's really big on, well, besides college, career readiness. And the workforce development seems like it goes hand in hand with the career readiness.
So we've been working with folks from Mass Hires.
Yeah.
They're evaluating and giving us that great information and language, and we've done the research around what the state guidelines are, and we're going to be building that all in the program. We're not doing this in a vacuum. We're doing it with partners that help us evaluate that.
Right.
And from earlier, where you guys were talking about doing more stuff with like Proposition 2.5 to help people understand, a big need for other understanding would be Chapter 70 funding.
Yes, I think that's a good point.
You have to actually get the actual authors to come and talk about that. And I think the only person who understands Chapter 70 funding is the person who wrote it.
Do you have any
What
comments?
is
or
Chapter
questions?
70 funding for those?
School.
Oh.
It's how your public school is funded. So, I'm sorry, there's two different, so Chapter 70 is a public
Right.
school, Chapter 74 is your vocational school.
Gotcha.
That's the difference, so it's just how your public schools are funded.
But
Right.
Chapter
Is-
70 funding affects city funding because
Yes,
if the school has to get it, the city has a limited fund.
right.
Do you have any comments? Questions?
Outside of that, no, not for right now. I
Debates.
have to think about some more.
That's so funny.
So
Just
that's what I
waiting till
wanted
you
to
guys see what I
say.
have to
Trying
do.
to cost.
I'm not interested in having, I don't need a vote on this tonight because I want, now that we've had a conversation, I want you to be able to kind of take that in and really provide solution-based feedback, right? That's my terminology. Let's do that solution-based feedback. And be prepared to come to the table in December though, with either provide that feedback to me beforehand so that I can get it implemented into the plan, or know that we might have to take a special vote in December to approve that plan if we can't do it at the meeting.
I guess my feedback would be when you provide the video for tonight's explanation to the rest of the board, to the members who aren't here, can you actually publish that to the whole board so that we can actually go back and kind of rewatch
Yes,
over
absolutely.
Because I'm sure there might have been some things
Well,
that
tonight's
I
meeting will
could've-
be available. I'm honestly just going to give you the YouTube link,
Yeah.
so because it
Oh, I was
goes up
gonna
on YouTube.
But if you, all right, that's fine. I was gonna say if you could bookmark it, but that's fine. I'll just scroll.
I usually chapter mark
Okay.
the YouTubes, so I'll talk to Ali about it.
Yeah, 'cause I do want to go back and watch this.
But that's why I was saying, the board members, that I don't want to vote on this tonight.
No,
No,
yeah,
I wasn't
right,
interested
and I
in
would
voting
not-
on it
yeah,
tonight.
this wouldn't have
But
came
to
up.
make sure everybody's,
It's on the yeah.
I also want to say that just because this is a 3-year plan doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take us 3 years to get where we want to be, but we need it all laid out in front of us. Right?
Felicia laughs. Yeah, we might get it done sooner.
This will only take 2 months.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't anticipate that.
I'll have
But-
no eyebrows left.
Much like we talked about last year when we did the 1-year strategic plan, and it felt very ambitious then. We
Yeah.
actually accomplished nearly over 90% of what we put into that
Well,
plan.
the other thing I like about this is that you've structured it in 3 years. So the first 2 years, like you said, are really the build-up. The last year is kind of that slushy year where
Yes.
things can move into it or whatever, but it's at least we're accomplishing so much by the end of that too. So I think I appreciate the way it's laid out. So
And I also want to mention that this is still maintaining our current services, right? Like, we're not changing how we
Right.
operate right now, but this is a direction that we need to go with what we want to do with our fund development. Again, none of this outside of some of the capital expenditures will be part of our cable funding operation. So we don't get to quit our day job to focus on this, is what I'm saying. I also, I had something else I wanted to say about the plan. No, I can't remember.
Well, I
Yeah.
should say, like, I do want to follow up on a comment that you had made. And like in year 3, obviously seeing that and it's a compliment to you to recognize that there is an issue clearly with the cable funding. We're not still going to be depending on it. Whatever happens with the State House, right, with that piece of legislation or what's going on with the cable funding, so that in this way we are not totally dependent on it, that we're weaning off of it.
Mhm.
But we're not weaning off of it cold turkey. It's gradually happening. So I will say that that's a compliment to you and your vision
Thank you.
of what you see going forward with this.
And we could be surprised by this legislation if
We
it comes
could.
through.
That'd be nice.
But here's the other
Yeah.
thing about that. So say,
But we're
let's
not
be
waiting on it,
surprised
right?
that
No,
it
no,
gets
we're not waiting on it.
let's
Right.
say it gets passed through this session, right? Fantastic. It still has 2 to 3 years of development
Right.
before it will ever hit our bank account.
Yeah, it's
Right?
slow-mo.
Yeah, because
State has
it's
slow-mo.
it's state level funding at that point, and then needs to be allocated. And how are they going to allocate that? Because
Right.
they don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So
It's one step at a
so
time.
by year 3 of this plan, we'll be going. Where's our money for the?
Right.
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
the state? Right.
Well, and then the opposite could also happen too, where it's like, think about how they just did the Chapter 70 reform. Everybody thought that Malden was going to get flushed with a lot of, and you find out that it's actually hurting us in such a way too. So the same could be said about that as well. We could be excited that it gets passed through, but then you find out that the way that the formula is funded for us, we could be right back in the same, could be back at step 1 all over again. So.
But you need a plan.
Yeah,
This looks
no,
like a
listen,
good
that's what I'm
plan.
saying. Like, what I'm saying though is, it's like, this is great that we're not totally dependent or
Yeah.
just waiting for that, right? So, yeah. So that's my comment.
The woman with the plan. All right.
Yeah.
We don't use gender
So
roles here. We
again,
the person
just
with the
a
plan.
encouragement to be ready to take action on this at next month's board
Yeah,
meeting.
absolutely. Good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good work.
Very good.
Great work.
Thank you.
All right. Move on to the next agenda item, which would be January board work session. We did a little bit of this last year. No, not a little bit of this.
Yeah,
We did this last year. No, I'm
2
sorry,
years
a
ago,
little
I
bit.
think.
No, I think it was last winter.
Last
'cause
January,
we were at
because-
City
We,
Hall.
we did the one at
We were sitting in
Pearl
City.
Street.
Oh no, that's a few years. No, that was something. I don't think that was related to this. So we did a work session last year, which was basically fleshing out what the board, right, what we more or less, if memory serves me correctly, what we will be working on as a board, and how to best support the staff here at UMA, and what our roles are, right? And I think again, it's touched upon here in this strategic plan as well, too, right? Like the board governance. What are we going to work on? What's it meaning to be part of this board? So, it won't be a meeting like this, like what we have. Like it won't be, but we should be prepared and come ready to talk about what the year 2026 is going to look like as being part of UMA, right? So going back to the strategic plan that Tina just put, what's it going to look like for us to go and recruit those 4 to 5 people in the community, right? What are we going to talk about? The packets that she's just talking about, right? With the bylaws, the board contract, bylaws, the understanding what the conversations have been in UMA in not in the past, but what the conversations have been in the year 2025 and what is to be expected and going 2026, right? So we'll be talking about that. Is there anything else that I've
Well, and it's also about basic board education. So we've got new board members, and we might even do a little bit of workshopping on. You walk up to somebody in public, and this is what you say about UMA, right? And what we're doing.
Don't do it. No, I'm sorry. It's a cold.
Oh, I guess I remembered what I wanted to say about the strategic plan. My hope with providing this 3-year strategic plan is that we can get all of our partners on the same page, right? Because we hear a lot of UMA should do this, UMA should do that, we should be focusing on this. My goal with this plan was to get the UMA team and the UMA board all together and go, yep, this is what we're focusing on now. We're not doing anything else. We're not adding to the pot. We're not taking anything else away. This is our plan. And so I want to be very clear about that. If you agree to this plan, you're agreeing to this plan, and we're not adding or subtracting stuff. Right?
Mhm.
So, anyways, to get back to the work session, you want to talk about subcommittees and what those look like.
Right.
How, what I would even recommend maybe scheduling out your subcommittee meetings for the year or the first 6 months. But prioritizing that board governance, maybe using some of Felicia's feedback from the conference. I myself I plan to be at this one this year. I wasn't able to make last year's. I don't know, maybe Felicia could come too and.
You know what, I like facilitation, so like, you know, let's get the whiteboard out, have me write things, I might ask you some questions, I might offer you some things that I've learned in the different sessions I've gone to about board development. I have feedback as a former board member. You might tell me to leave the room because you want to talk about me behind my back.
Do it right to your face, too.
Whatever's helpful.
Like, yeah, the biggest point is it's a work session and it's a non-televised, non-recorded
I
meeting.
think we may have to go for executive session at that point. 'Cause
When you call for a work session, you don't.
You sure? Because we're not hoping, we'll talk about that more offline.
Sure.
We'll bring you food. We'll make sure you're fed.
Make
Yeah.
sure nobody's there to contaminate it.
Okay.
Well,
So-
we should try and figure out a date for that. It's coming up fast.
Usually third
It's
Thursday,
our-
yeah.
it's the third Thursday.
Third Thursday.
Oh,
So it would
so
be
the
in
board
place.
meeting?
Yeah, it's a board.
oh, it's in place of a, gotcha.
Yes. So it might
Gotcha.
run a little longer. Well, tonight's an exception.
Yeah.
You know.
If you want to
but
start it earlier too.
Yeah,
you
you,
could.
if you wanted to start
Yeah,
it
it's-
earlier, you could possibly start it earlier. But you're looking at minimum, I would say 2 hours
Yeah.
at minimum.
Yeah.
And
But
you
I
wanna
won't,
have
you know, it won't. We won't have like an agenda
Right.
per se. I don't
You
think.
might have a plan,
Yeah,
areas
yeah.
you
It's a
want,
plan.
topics
Yeah,
you wanna
area
talk
topics
about.
to cover, but yeah, it
Yeah.
won't be like a full.
It's a good idea for a board to do this once a year, just to kind of maybe make sure that you've got your roadmap in place, right?
Mhm.
And especially new board members, like, what are you looking for? What do you want? What did you not get? What do you want more of? How do you obviously both have great ideas. Not that you guys don't, but.
No,
They're stale.
It's sometimes it's good to get
The
new.
magic wall was good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
the
I thought
I
the
love that
magic board is
idea.
great. I still want the magic board.
There's also a huge partnership opportunity, which is in the works right now. City of Malden is going after a very
A magic
large
board?
grant.
Let's table that.
Okay.
For a magic board.
For a
Yeah.
magic.
For a magic
Yeah.
board.
Something
Okay,
different.
so just
All right.
understanding that January
Yes.
board meeting would be more of a work session than an actual board meeting. The final item on the new business agenda is on Sunday, December 6th. Malden Overcoming Addiction is holding a fundraiser at Town Line Lanes, and I would really love it if we could form an UMA team to be supportive of that fundraiser. We need a minimum of 4 and up to 6 bowlers and bowling team. I've come up with a UMA. It's UMA's. It's UMA. So it's supposed to be
Amazing.
amazing, but it's amazing. Amazing strikes.
Oh my,
Is the name that I came up
I love that.
And you can dress up in costume. So.
like what, a theme?
So I thought it would be
Is there a
kind of
theme
cool to
to the
come as
costume?
different media art aspects. So like somebody could come as a VHS tape. Somebody else could be like a piece of
way
art.
too complicated.
Wait, I'm giving all my ideas away. Shut up. Anyways, we do have some people interested within the team and on the board. So I just need to know I think we have to register by November 28th. So, and it's from I think it was 6 to 8 p.m. on a Sunday,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh, so it's the 7th then.
Oh no, it said the 6th. Oh, it's a Saturday. You're right.
6th is Saturday.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll have to reload. I sent you the flyer. I sent you the email to the BOD email.
It's also a way for
I
women
could've
to be
sworn it was a
present in the
Sunday.
community.
It's
There's
Sunday
going to
would
be
be
a
the
lot
7th,
of folks from the
When
city,
we go on
and
the MOA.
you know, it's a great organization, but
I did it last year. It was
yeah,
fun.
it's,
Yeah.
There's usually a lot of people there.
Yeah, I did it last year.
good
It was a
talk
good
us
time.
up.
Yeah, it's Sunday, December 7th, 6 to 8:30.
So there's a
Sunday.
Sunday.
I had the wrong date on
yes.
the agenda.
December
It's the
8th,
7th.
okay.
No,
Seventh.
Sunday, December 7th.
December 7th, okay.
Okay,
It's a Sunday.
Oh, there it is. Bowl is on.
I pulled it up.
Great, thank
So
you.
I would say, please let me know. I think I put a deadline date of letting me know if you can do it or not, so I can get us registered. So.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right.
I really want to start talking now.
Alright.
Can we use the, is it bowling?
Yeah.
So the bumpers are on?
That I don't choose.
No
That's all I
bumpers.
need to
There
know.
are no
If
bum-
we
there's
can
no
have the
bumpers.
bumpers on,
There's
I'm
no-
in.
There's no bumpers.
Or the dragon or the crocodile. What is it
Oh,
that?
that'll take.
We
Yeah,
need
like-
two
I think you
teams.
could
We
probably
need
use
that
one of
bumper
those.
team.
Yeah,
I
something.
think that could be a
That could-
request.
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
it's
not sure
doable.
how that works. You could ask.
Iman might give you a lot of
You
crap.
could
about
ask.
that.
Oh,
I
I'd
could
probably
get
just talk
involved
a lot of trash if I
with
said
the
somebody
bumper,
was a bumper. Oh.
All right, board president.
All right. Any other follow-up discussion to anything that we've heard under new business? Any questions that need to be asked while we're under
Just-
new business?
Not under new business.
Yeah, still
Just
in-
clarification that next month's board meeting, we did keep on December
Yes.
18th.
Yes, and it said virtual. in the
It's a
notes.
virtual meeting?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
because
was in-
yeah, because we had said everybody might be traveling for Christmas, so we did make that
Alright.
virtual,
All right.
so that we would have better participation.
So wear your PJs.
Bring it by eggnog.
I'll probably have a stretchy elastic band on my.
Oh, I'm gonna need that after next week. All right, everybody. I'll entertain any motions right now since we're at the end of our agenda. On Jenny's motion.
I motioned it.
Nope, don't worry about it.
Okay.
On Jenny's motion to adjourn, seconded by Jonathan. We just need a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. The ayes have it. Thank you very much for being here. Good work,
Very
everybody.
good.
Thank you.
See you all next month. Do you guys have a dumpster back here?